Don't have my microphone on. There we go. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Thanks for joining us tonight for the spooky screenplay thing. Well, we'll see how it goes. So yeah, I just wanted to say thanks to everybody for joining. I kind of went out on a limb doing this. I haven't really done a screen reading on this channel before. I have done a movie once, but it's kind of up in a secret place. But I'll actually put a link down in the description. Actually, it is down in the description if you want to go check it out. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So first of all, I'd want to make sure everybody knows, like, usually when I do live streams, I'm interacting with everybody in the live chat. I'm like responding and thanking people for super chats and whatnot. But I won't be able to do that this time because we're going to be reading this script. So I want to apologize. I'm seeing people in the live chat right now, so many names and so many people talking, and I'm waving at you. I appreciate it. I'm not going to be able to respond once we get started going on this, and I just ask for your forgiveness on that. But I also wanted to say, we have these super chats. I won't be able to thank everybody on the stream for any super chats that come through. I might be able to do it later on a TMI video or something. But I encourage super chats because I will be splitting this with everybody that's helping me out with this reading, and I want to take care of them. So if you have a little bit to pass on, a little thank you, I do appreciate that. And like I said, it's going to go to everybody. So what else is there to talk about? I don't want to go on too long because this is going to take a little bit of time to get through. But so I guess I'll just go ahead and start introducing some people. So first up, let me pull up this display. By the way, just expect some technical issues because that's how everything always happens. But first up, I want to introduce a friend of mine named Kareem Gray. So let me pull Kareem up here. This might take a second. So Kareem is an old friend of mine. We've been buds for quite some time. Asked to start video. Oh, I guess you have to do something on your end there, Kareem. There we go. All right, so avid viewers of the channel might have noticed Kareem from the video where I picked up my Tesla. You were vaping in the back seat, bro.
And you know what?
You made so many people mad.
You were gonna bring that up.
Now they're going to be mad that you're vaping on this thing.
No.
I'm just kidding. So Kareem is actually a filmmaker himself. He had a film called 01. Is there a place where people can find that?
Right on my YouTube channel and on Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook page, 01 the movie.
Yeah.
And it's ZERONE or 01.
Right. Anyway. So Kareem's a good friend of mine. Both of his kids, they're awesome. Caden and Tiana, I think they're watching in the next room. And they're big fans of the show. So he's raising his kids right. What can you say, right? Obviously. Also, I'm ruining your kids. I forgot to mention that. So next up, joining us is an old friend of mine named Aaron McGrew. And Aaron, you may have to start this on your end too. I didn't realize that you guys would have to do something to start your... There you go. Okay. Perfect. Aaron was in my film Oceanfront Properties. So if anybody did see that, that was at the 50,000 subscriber mark when I live streamed that. Which you were part of that, right? You were there. Yeah, that was one of my favorite things ever because we got to we got to reminisce and tell stories, and I hadn't visited that place in my mind in a long time. That was I felt it here, man. I had the feels. But Erin is awesome. She's one of my favorite people. She just had a birthday party recently, and we roller skated. I roller skated, guys. That's what she did to me. So Kareem and Aaron are going to be reading multiple... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
My birthday was March 4th, so it was the last hurrah before the world shut down. I
Yeah.
turned 50 at the right day for everybody to have one last party, and I haven't been anywhere since. So thanks to all of you visiting my purple room from all around the world right now. Now I don't feel so lonely.
All right, so now I'm finding out that nobody can hear anything. I think I didn't have the audio turned up. Oh, technical issues, guys. Of course. All right, tell you what. Hang on a second. Aaron, can you talk?
Yes, testing 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay.
I can see that we're getting captioned at least.
All right. Hang on. Now they're saying the volumes are too low. Better. There we go. We fixed it. Okay. All right. There will never be any more technical issues again throughout this whole thing. Congratulations to us. All right. So next up, let me introduce somebody that has not really been on the channel that much. But guys, if it wasn't for him, you would not be seeing any videos. This is my friend Nick Turnbow. Oh, wrong one. What's happening here? There we go. Nick.
See me? Hello.
Nick is the editor for this channel. Nick edits all of the videos on this channel. So we couldn't do this without him. And when I say we, that includes Nick, because it's not just me. It's also Nick, because he edits everything. Oh, I made him embarrassed, guys. He's all embarrassed. Okay. All right. So next up, we've got somebody else who had kind of appeared recently, not too long ago, Mr. Emmett Short, another YouTuber of the YouTube fame, of the YouTube life, of that biohacking life.
That's true.
So Emmett actually just did a video. Was it today that it came out? It was today, wasn't it? I watched it today.
Yes, it was this morning. Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can everybody else hear him?
Wasn't sure.
So
I did put out a video on
go for
biohacking today, and I sort of threw my hat in the ring for a little biohacking product, and I put together a little funny commercial that's in there too. So it's kind of a stupid product and a stupid commercial, but it's for a good cause.
It's not for a stupid cause. No.
It's for a good cause. Yeah.
It's prosthetics for kids without with limbs and stuff.
Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to, turn kids into superhero cyborgs.
That's right.
What?
That's the only way to do it.
So the link for that is actually in the description right now if you want to go check it out. It's a really funny video. Emmett is kind of, he's like me, but he's funnier and better looking. So if you like what I do and you always thought if he was only funnier and better looking, you could go check out Emmett's channel. It's pretty much the same thing.
I can only dream to be as good at what you do as you are.
Yes, you can. Okay, so last but not least, I'm just kidding. Last but not least is Maddie Laird, who is going to play the title character of Lavender for this screenplay.
Nice.
Are you there, Maddie? There you go.
Hi.
So I'm still calling you Maddie. Do you go by Madison now?
My friends call me Maddie.
Okay. Well, I'm your friend.
I mean, a lot of people call me Maddie. It's Madison Laird. I'm I'm just hanging out here in Austin.
So Maddie helped me out with a video that I did. We decided it was a decade ago now.
It was a decade ago. Yes.
Yeah. It was a little I knew I was gonna do that. Hang on.
That folder.
By the way, Joe, I just signed in. I have it on my other monitor. I signed in to watch it to see how it's performing. I just can't hear it. I don't have the sound up.
That's cool.
We're back.
Okay. Can y'all hear us again? For some reason, my OBS quit. There they go. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what that was about. The OBS has quit on me a couple of times already, and I do not like it. But anyway, can I hear all of you?
Test.
We can hear all of you. All right.
Hello. Yes.
So,
all right, I'm going to speak, and I'm listening on this. Is how I'm listening to the live stream. So.
Well, I can hear you.
All right.
I'm guessing they can hear you. Okay, so let me just say one last thing before we get going. A happy Halloween to everybody. I hope you enjoy this. This is a very old screenplay of mine. Don't take it too seriously, but it's meant to be fun. And I will be stopping and giving little details and stuff along the way. So I've got a little wine. If everybody wants to make a little toast to having a good time on Halloween and not being too spooky, maybe a little spooky.
Cheers.
Okay. Y'all ready?
Yes.
Let's go.
Before OBS quits on me again.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will be the narrator of this thing, and I will be sort of just like reading it as it's in the script, but I'll also improv and ad-lib a little bit, because why not? So, it's my channel. Do it if I want to. Okay. So, we fade in. Interior, Jimmy Anderson's bedroom night. Jimmy Anderson, 18, a bright-looking, if a little square kid, is getting ready for the prom. He pulls out the tuxedo from the closet, lays it out on the bed in front of him, then goes over the accessories, which he doesn't know how to use. Cut to interior Rhonda Shelby's bedroom night. Rhonda, 18, a blonde strumpet cheerleader type, is also getting ready for the prom, still in her underwear, spending inordinate amounts of time on her hair, her dress still hanging on the door. So we are 2 paragraphs into this script, and there's a teenage girl in her underwear. This is what movie we're dealing with here. This is where we're starting. So now you know where you are. Okay. So basically we got a guy getting ready for the prom and a girl getting ready for the prom. We're kind of cutting in between them as they get ready. Jimmy's fidgeting with his cummerbund. Rhonda's applying glitter. Jimmy's figuring out the cufflinks. Rhonda's putting on mascara. Jimmy's putting a buff on his shoes. Rhonda's sliding into her dress. So finally, Rhonda gets a ring on the doorbell. She runs to the living room where her father opens the door. She smiles big as the door opens to reveal Ben Slater, a blonde, studly football player. She smiles as she takes his arm, and they leave for the prom. Back in Jimmy's room, Jimmy sits on his bed. He's got his tuxedo on, looking at himself in the mirror. He's depressed. Jimmy's father, Mel, 50, walks up to the door and leans against it. And Jimmy tries to shake off his gloomy look, but it's too late.
Ready for your big night?
Yeah, guess so.
Well, I know it didn't quite work out the way you wanted it to.
Jimmy stands and tries to tie his tie in the mirror, but he can't.
He's a football player, Dad. What can you do?
The narrator doesn't talk. Okay.
I don't even blame her.
Mel walks in and stands behind Jimmy, tying his tie for him, talking to him through the mirror.
Jimmy, you know what's funny about high school? Is that you work so hard to look a certain way, to be a certain type of person, to achieve certain goals, or whatnot. And then you graduate and you move on. And one day you look back and you know what? None of it matters at all. And you just can't believe that you took it all so seriously.
He finishes the tie. Jimmy cracks a little smile.
Hey, listen. Now, Jimmy, I want you to have some fun tonight. It's your prom. You'll never get another one.
Mel pats him on the back and walks toward the bedroom door.
And if you're going to pick up your friend Bart, you better get going. You know, you're not getting out of the house without your mother taking about 1 million pictures.
Mel walks out. Jimmy kind of smiles and shakes his head. He adjusts his tie one more time and then walks out the door. Down the hallway, his mother sees him and squeals with delight.
You look great!
You look great. All right, so now we cut to Jimmy's car later. The passenger side door of Jimmy's 72 Charger opens and Bart May, 18, Jimmy's good friend and sidekick, gets in. His tux is more rumpled and older, so he plays it up by rolling up his sleeves and spiking his hair. He has more of an up-yours attitude than Jimmy. He looks at the sour face plastered on Jimmy's mug.
Hey, buddy. You look like
Hey,
shit.
Bart. Hey, Bart.
Okay, so just I should point out that if you were watching this in the movie, it would cut from the mom yelling, you look great, to Bart going, you look like shit. So there's actually a joke there that doesn't really come across in the reading of the screenplay. But there you go. So they just said hello. Jimmy drives out of frame. Bart has his foot up on the dashboard, just kind of giggling at him.
Ben Slater, huh? What a loser.
Yeah, well.
I mean, what is the world coming to when a cheerleader chooses a first-string linebacker over a first-chair clarinet player?
All-state clarinet player.
Oh, well, you probably had a shot then.
She was my lab partner. We became friends.
Jimmy, cheerleaders don't go to prom with their friends. That's what scabs do. Hence.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, well, in a week we graduate and we never have to deal with any of these people again.
Speak for yourself, college boy. Some of us got to work for a living. I got another whole year with these people.
So we cut to the outside. Jimmy's car drives down a dark, secluded, tree-lined road. The street sign reads Lafayette Road. This becomes important later on. Foreshadowing, people. All right, so inside Jimmy's car, Jimmy and Bart continue talking.
I give it an hour until Murphy gets kicked out.
Oh, I don't even give myself an hour. Not if this thing sucks as much as I think it will.
Yeah, I doubt I'll stick around very late.
Just long enough to find out where the parties are.
Jimmy smirks, and then his brows furrow when he sees something up ahead on the road.
The hell is that?
Bart looks. Far off in the distance in front of them, a white figure reflects off of the headlights.
Dude, it's a deer. Slow down.
I don't think it's a deer.
He slows down anyway. As they approach it, it becomes clear that it's a person walking down the side of the road. It's a girl with blonde hair, wearing a long dress. Jimmy slows down to a crawl as they roll past her, both looking out the window.
Who is that?
Nobody I know.
She glances over at them as they pass.
You think she needs a ride?
Dude, don't give her a ride. Are you nuts?
What's she gonna do? Stab me with her corsage?
He pulls over and stops.
Nothing about this seems weird to you.
No. Going to prom with another guy? That seems weird to me. Let's just see if she needs help.
She walks up beside the car. Bart rolls down the window and Jimmy leans over.
Hey, you all right?
Yeah, my ride didn't show up.
You going to the prom?
Yeah.
Oh, so are we. Hop in. We'll give you a ride.
Bart glares at him, but he motions for Bart to give him her seat, so he gets out.
You sure you don't mind?
Not at all. We're going there anyway.
Not at all. She gets in and sits in the front seat. Bart gets in the back and then closes the door.
I'm Jimmy.
I'm Lavender.
Lavender. What an interesting name.
A beat passes. Bart waits for an introduction, but he doesn't get one.
I'm Bart. Thanks.
I like that. Jimmy drives away down the road. In the front seat, Lavender is kind of feeling around on the dashboard. She's interested in the car.
This car is old, isn't it?
Jimmy's a little confused. It's obviously an old car.
Yeah, it's starting to show its age a little bit. So, do you go to Northwest?
I won't after next week.
Oink, oink, oink.
I'm into that. So, how come I haven't seen you around anywhere?
I lay low.
I've been living here for 7 years. You think you know everyone?
It's a big school.
Not that big.
Jimmy looks at him in the rear view, and then Lavender decides to take a shot at him.
So, Bart, who's your date?
And Jimmy chuckles at her barb at him.
You're sitting right next to him.
They allow that?
No. We're not together. We're just, we're going together, riding together.
Don't listen to him, Lavender.
He leans up in the seat and playfully wraps his arms around Jimmy.
Jimmy and I are close as we ever could be. I was the happiest man on earth when he asked me to prom.
Stop it.
I could just kiss him right now.
Bart lunges forward,
No.
trying to kiss Jimmy on the face, and Jimmy struggles to drive away while Lavender laughs. I'm probably getting canceled for that. So, in the dark road, the car almost swerves off the road as laughter comes from the car. Jimmy's car pulls up outside the community center a little bit later, where the prom is taking place. There's a sea of cars and prom goers walking into the building. Bart heads in by himself. Jimmy waits for Lavender to walk around the car and joins her. Jimmy?
Sorry, yeah, I think I hit something on my keyboard.
Jimmy hits something on his keyboard.
Yeah, laughter comes from the car. Oh, well, I'm sure you have
Hey.
friends you want to hang out with. So nice to meet you.
Jimmy starts
Is that
to
it?
walk in without her.
Jimmy,
He stops. She walks up to him.
I asked Bart, but I never asked you. Who's your date?
Oh, I don't, nobody.
You didn't ask anybody?
Oh, I asked, just she wasn't interested. I mean, I thought she was, but yeah.
Well, no guy should have to go to a senior prom without a date. And since mine clearly didn't show up, I could be your date.
Really?
I mean, if you want.
Sure. Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's go.
She takes his arm and they walk into the prom smiling. Cue the John Hughes music. So inside the prom later in a montage, the prom's going on. Kids are dancing, pranksters goofing off, girls whispering, jocks acting cool, nerds being awkward. And in the middle of it all, Jimmy and Lavender get their picture taken, grab some munchies. Jimmy introduces her to some people and they talk amongst themselves. Bart notices both of them from across the room while talking with friends, and at one point Jimmy leaves her sitting at the table to get food at the buffet. Bart approaches him.
So how's Scary Mary?
He pops a strawberry in his mouth and Jimmy chuckles.
She's cool. Actually, we've just been hanging out, talking.
So does anybody know her here? Because nobody that I've talked to recognizes her.
I don't know. Mary Riley said she thought she was in her chemistry class. Maybe she's homeschooled.
A homeschooled freak, right. That would explain her interest in you.
Shut up. You know, you really think she's interested?
Well, she hasn't left your damn side all night. I mean, what do you think?
Hey, I didn't bail on you or anything, did I? I mean, you're good, right?
Please. Do you want me to kiss you again?
Not so much. Okay, just let me know if you need a ride home.
Oh, no. Moorhead has taken the group to the party. Oh, by the way, we were both wrong. Murphy got kicked out before we even got here.
Sounds about right. So, you're cool?
I'm good. Go have fun.
All right.
So they bump fists, and Jimmy walks back to the table. Bart slowly walks away, looking back at Lavender suspiciously. So at the table, Jimmy sits back down next to Lavender, who's kind of bobbing around to the music.
What kind of music is this?
Jimmy listens. It's rap music.
What, the band?
No, I mean, just what do you call this?
Rap? Hip hop? What do you call it?
She's still kind of in the music.
I like it.
What's your favorite music?
I like oldies.
So the music changes to a slow song, and then Jimmy looks up and sees Rhonda slow dancing with Ben. His smile fades and he sighs. Lavender notices.
That's her, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry. You don't need to. Have to.
He's glib. She'll be over him in no time.
You know, it doesn't matter anyway because she's going to college in Michigan and I'm going to Georgia. It just never would have worked. I guess I just wanted to leave the game with a hit, you know?
She looks at Rhonda, then back at Jimmy, and with a mischievous smile, she folds her napkin and stands up.
Come on.
What?
Batter up.
I like Lavender. She's saucy. So she offers him her hand. After a beat, he smiles and takes it. They go out onto the dance floor. She puts her arms around him, and he grabs her waist. Then he feels her arm.
You're freezing. You want my jacket?
Not now. Dance.
She softly gives him instructions as they dance. Rhonda and Ben are only a few feet away.
Just keep looking in my eyes. Now whisper something funny in my ear.
Confused, Jimmy leans down to her ear and whispers.
What should I say?
Lavender laughs like she just heard the funniest thing in the world. Loudly, she guffaws and pounds on his chest, getting everyone's attention around them, especially Rhonda's. Then she rubs the back of his head, very flirty, and leans into him.
A peanut walked into a bar and was assaulted.
Jimmy laughs more than he really should. She laughs too. They are the picture of a happy couple. Rhonda looks Lavender up and down suspiciously.
That's not that funny.
I know.
You ever have a giggling fit where everybody's just giggling at things and you know it's not really funny, but you're giggling anyway? That's what's happening here. Connection, people. They're connecting. Okay. So she puts her head on his shoulder and they dance. He smiles. A little bit later, outside, Jimmy runs out to the prom to his car and he gets his jacket out of the back seat. On the way back in, he bumps into Rhonda and Ben on their way out. There's an uncomfortable moment where Rhonda starts to say something, but Jimmy runs inside. He got in her head. So inside the prom, Jimmy drapes his coat over Lavender's shoulders.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I just saw Rhonda leaving.
Did she look devastated?
Beyond measure. Mission accomplished. So, you don't have to dance anymore. Thank you.
She nods, slightly disappointed, and they sit in silence while a slow Bobby Darin song starts playing in the background.
I like this song.
That's right. You like the oldies, don't you? Bobby Darin, isn't it? Yeah, my grandma used to play this all the time.
Yeah, mine too.
Another long beat. They sit there, kind of awkward. They lock eyes. He leans forward and points to a girl across the room.
So that girl over there, Heather Dudley, I took her to homecoming in the 4th grade, and there she is with some other guy.
That is pretty slimy of her.
I think we could try to make her jealous too.
Well, I think she deserves it.
They stare at each other and slowly smile. Connection. He stands and leads her to the dance floor where they start dancing. So here we have a little bit of a montage of dissolving from the room is thinned out a little bit later. They're still dancing. A little bit later, fade in. The room is thinned a little more. They're still dancing. So finally, it's the end of the night. The room's almost totally empty, and they're still dancing. The song ends, and the DJ comes over the speakers. Kareem, can you read that one? I didn't have anybody selected for this one.
I'm practicing my parts. I'm trying to get into the zone.
I can read it.
All right,
DJ
all
comes
right.
on. DJ comes on and says, "All right, everybody, I think that does it for tonight. Thanks for coming and enjoy the after parties."
All right.
All right. So I can act. Jimmy and Lavender look at each other. Jimmy gets an idea.
You up for a party?
I think I should go home.
Cut to Jimmy's car later on that night. Jimmy's driving down the dark road with Lavender next to him. It's quiet for a long beat.
I want to say thank you.
For what?
For tonight. I was really dreading going to this thing, and I ran into you and wound up having a really great time. So thanks.
Is it better than you would have had with Miss Congeniality?
I don't know, and I'm not wondering.
They smile at each other. She looks back up the road.
Oh, just drop me off here where you picked me up.
Jimmy pulls the car over to the side of the road.
Are you sure? You don't have to walk.
She points to a dirt road connecting in the headlights.
It's right down the road. I don't want to wake my parents.
So he puts the car in park. Awkward silence.
I can't help but wish that I'd met you a long time ago.
Yeah, me too.
She glances out the window down the road, upset.
You okay?
I'm fine. I had a great time tonight too. I'm really glad that we met.
She looks up at him and bats her eyes at him. They lock eyes.
But promise you'll remember that.
Sure.
Okay, so here it is, guys. This is when they're supposed to kiss. It's the end of the night, so they both kind of lean in. And then when their lips are just about to touch, she stops him. She lowers her head. She's very conflicted. Like she wants to kiss him, but she's afraid of something. They linger there in an intimate space for a beat, her hands running through his hair, his thumb rubbing her cheek. Finally, she sits back, unable to do it.
I'm sorry. I really just... I'm sorry.
It's okay. No need to rush into any,
She glances nervously down the road as she talks.
I gotta go. I really have to get, you don't hate me.
She opens the door.
No, of course not.
Good.
She steps out of the car and closes the door, waving at him. He watches her walk away quickly down the road in front of him, bathed in the headlights, and turn down the dark dirt road. Jimmy rolls his car forward so he can see down the road and watches her fade into the darkness. He drives away, filled with elation and confusion, when it hits him. She's still wearing his jacket.
My jacket!
My jacket! I love it. My jacket!
My jacket!
Totally normal reaction. So she walked away. She still got his jacket. So his initial horror turns into a big fat grin, and he chuckles out loud because now he's got an excuse to see her again.
Yes.
Teenagers. Okay. So Jimmy's car drives down the road past that Lafayette Road sign. Back at Jimmy's house at night, his car pulls up outside the house and he walks in, trying to be quiet. Inside, Mel and Jimmy's mom, Deborah, are in the den watching TV. Deborah's asleep, as you can tell, looking at Aaron. She's passed out and Mel is barely awake. The door opens. Jimmy walks in, surprised to see them sitting there. They snap up and turn off the TV.
Oh, hey, kiddo. How was the prom?
You guys didn't have to stay up. You knew I'd be out late.
Well, bad things happen on prom night too. So how was it?
Actually, I had a really good time. Kind of met a girl.
They both react very excited.
What's her name?
Embarrassed, Jimmy kind of takes baby steps towards his room.
Lavender.
How sweet.
You think you'll see her again, son?
She still has my jacket, so yeah. I'll wait a couple of days.
Go get her, Tiger. Go get her.
Go get her, Tiger. So Jimmy makes his escape, trying to get away from them.
I'm gonna hit it. Good night.
Okay, all right. Good night, son. Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah. Okay.
So Jimmy leaves the room and Deborah puts her head on Mel's shoulder, lamenting her age.
Our little boy just had his prom.
He pats her on the shoulder as they walk out of the room.
I know. Let's go to bed.
A little too excited in that voice. Let's go to bed. Now it's daddy's time for a prom. Okay. So inside Jimmy's room, he goes to his calendar and he counts out a couple of days. He wants to be cool. Then he circles the 20th of May. He smiles, then lays down in bed, perfectly content. He had a good night. Fade to black. Fade back in. Interior grocery store a day. The electronic clock inside the store shows that it's 5:20. Jimmy walks up to the register with a single rose in hand. As the clerk is ringing him up, he looks a couple registers back and sees Bart sacking groceries at the end of the aisle. Bart sees him and acknowledges with a head nod. Jimmy shows him the rose, and Bart smiles. He pays the clerk and walks around to Bart, who's wheeling a cart out the door for a customer, and he walks alongside him.
What do you think?
Well, that's sweet, Jimmy, but I'm still a little mad that you dumped me at prom.
No, for Lavender, I'm going to see her.
You can't just call her?
I didn't get her number, but I know where she lives. Wish me luck.
Good luck, Romeo.
So Jimmy and Bart walk different directions out of frame. By the way, I think it would help if we all just imagine this took place in the early 90s, because there's a few places in here where it's like, if somebody had a cell phone, this would fix everything. So let's just imagine this is in a world without cell phones. Okay. So exterior Lafayette Road day. This is just after that. Jimmy's car turns down the road connecting to the street. There's only one house at the end of the short road, and Jimmy pulls up in front of it. It's an older house, one that's seen better days. The name on the mailbox reads Van Pyle. Jimmy takes a second to process it before going up to the door. I don't know why you have to process a mailbox, but anyway. Jimmy knocks on the door. Jimmy knocks on the door and then steps back and waits. Rose in hand, he's nervous. After a beat, he can hear footsteps coming toward the door, and he straightens himself. But then tries to look casual. But then straightens himself. Finally, the door opens, and Jimmy looks up to see Mrs. Van Pyle, an 80-plus-year-old woman with gray hair, glasses, and a black dress. She looks somewhat sophisticated. Jimmy looks confused.
Can I help you?
Hi, I'm looking for your granddaughter?
I'm sorry, I don't have a granddaughter.
Oh, then I'm sorry. Maybe I have the wrong house. Do you know a girl named Lavender?
Yes, she's my daughter.
Your daughter, okay. Well, is she here?
No, she's not. Why do you ask?
I met her the other day, just wanted to come by, say hi.
You did what?
I gave her a ride to the prom just a couple of days ago.
Okay, here it is. Here's the line. Bring it home, Aaron. Bring it home.
That's impossible, son. Lavender's been dead for 40 years.
Nobody saw that coming. Dun, dun, dun. A long beat passes, and then Jimmy chuckles like it's a joke.
No. You don't understand. I gave a girl named Lavender a ride to the prom 2 days ago. I dropped her off at the end of this dirt road.
As he's saying this, she walks into the house and comes back with a framed picture in her hand.
Is that your prom date, boy?
Boy! Jimmy drops the rose with shaking hands. He takes the picture and looks at it. It's an aged, dusty, black and white school photo of Lavender from 1964.
I'm afraid you're mistaken.
He looks up at her with total shock.
Go to Ribideau Cemetery if you don't believe me.
Dun, 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 dun. So back at the grocery store, Bart's sacking groceries. Jimmy comes flying in and quickly walks over to him, wide-eyed.
What happened to you?
Do you have a break coming up?
Yeah. Why?
Meet me outside. I've got to borrow you for a minute.
Jimmy rushes toward the door.
You look like you've seen a ghost.
Jimmy stops at the door and looks back at him. Not funny. So Jimmy drives down the road in his car. Bart's pondering what Jimmy just told him.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit, dude.
I thought she was just an old lady off her rocker until she showed me the picture.
You're sure it was her?
Positive.
Bart rolls his eyes a little. This is all a little too weird.
Okay, I've only got 10 minutes on this break. And if this thing doesn't like jump out at us as soon as we get there, we got to go.
I appreciate the help.
Exterior, Ribideau Cemetery later. Jimmy's car pulls up and he and Bart jump out. The cemetery isn't huge, but there's no way they have time to look at all the gravestones. But they walk inside the gates.
I'll go this way. You go that way.
They split up and walk amongst the gravestones, looking at each name as fast as they can. Bart's moving a little faster than Jimmy, but only after a few moments of concentrating on individual stones, Jimmy looks up and his eyes go wide.
Bart!
Bart! Bart hears and runs over to him. Jimmy points in the near distance.
How's that for jumping out at you?
Bart's brows furrow. Across the cemetery, there's a gravestone with a jacket hanging off of it. Jimmy's jacket. Huh? Slowly, they make their way across the cemetery to the grave. The jacket's covering up the name on the stone. They stand in front of it for a long beat, unwilling to reveal what's underneath. Finally, Bart reaches over and pulls it off. The gravestone reads, Lavender Van Pyle, 1946 to 1964. Oh. Bart hands him the jacket. Jimmy takes it in a trance, breathing heavily, unable to comprehend what he's seeing. Bart looks suspicious. He glances over at Jimmy, then sighs with frustration.
I got to get back to work.
Bart walks away upset, and Jimmy stands there for another long beat before finally walking out of the cemetery, and we fade to black. Okay, so I'm going to stop for just a second. Ad-libbing. Everything up to this point is an actual ghost story. Like, this is an actual piece of lore that exists, and the name of the girl is Lavender. Some versions of it have her being called Lavender because there's a song that says Lavender Dilly Dilly or something like that. Does that ring a bell to anyone?
Oh, yeah, lavender blue, dilly
Yeah,
dilly,
there you go.
lavender green.
Yeah. So some of them have to do with
Isn't
that
that
song.
a
Some of them
Budweiser
don't.
commercial? Dilly dilly.
Yeah, I know, right?
Dilly
Well-
dilly.
So Ramapo, New York. I don't know where this is, but there's a version of it where it takes place there in this specific place. There are versions of this story that go back all the way to pre-car days where like a guy's on a horse and she gets on a horse. So this is like an old folk ghost tale that's been around for a long, long, long time. And everything up to here is that story. I always was like, but what happened after that? Like, does this kid just go, is he just in therapy for the rest of his life over this moment, this event that happened to him? What happened to this guy? So that is where the rest of this screenplay kind of came from. So I claim very little blame for what's happened up to this point. From this point forward, it's all my fault. And we're going off the rails now. So, but I wanted to stop and say that because this is really based on a real story, or the story might not be true, but it's a real like folk tale. So anyway, so that's where we started. So we faded to black. Jimmy's freaked out. Bart thinks that Jimmy was playing a prank on him. He just doesn't believe that this is a real thing that happened. So fade back in to the graduation day. Jimmy sits amongst the other graduates, his cap and gown on. He looks tired. He looks across at he looks across the graduates and he sees Bart, who's ignoring him. And Jimmy sighs. The speaker's like, "I'm proud to present to you this year's graduating class of Northwest High." Why not? It works. So they all stand and they throw their caps in the air, the whole graduation thing. In the parking lot later, Jimmy's going through the motions of getting his picture taken with his family, his mother unable to stop crying, and then he sees Bart walking past in the near distance.
Excuse me just a second.
So he weaves his way through the crowd to get to Bart, and he bumps into Rhonda at one point.
Jimmy, congratulations.
And he keeps going past her. She huffs, jilted. Jimmy gets to Bart and stops him.
Hey, Bart.
Bart turns around to him, not really in the mood to talk.
Congratulations, dude.
Yeah, you too, man.
He starts to walk again, and then Jimmy grabs his arm.
Wait, listen. I know you're upset about something, but please just do me a favor. My parents are having a picnic at 1 o'clock at the park. I'd like it if you came.
Jimmy, I gotta go to the thing.
Please, Bart. I need to talk to you about something.
He's being very serious and dramatic. And he turns and walks back to his family, leaving Bart standing there, rolling his eyes. Exterior park day. A little bit later, a small gathering of people are cutting into a cake that reads, "Congratulations, Jimmy." Although it might just say, "Congratulations, Jay," because they've cut into the cake. Jimmy eats a piece of cake, and he's chatting with family members and friends, and then he looks up to see Bart walking toward him in the park. Jimmy excuses himself, walks out to Bart, grabbing a piece of cake on the way. Bart seems annoyed that he's there and readies himself as Jimmy approaches.
Hey,
Thanks
for coming, man.
He hands Bart a piece of the cake.
Oh, thanks.
Weird, awkward beat.
So, we haven't really talked since, Well, I've been thinking about this Lavender thing.
Jimmy, what the hell is this?
What the hell is what?
This stupid ghost thing. I mean, what are you trying to do?
I'm not trying to do anything.
It's not funny.
I don't think it's funny either.
I mean, is this some kind of payback for something I did to you in junior high, or like, what the hell?
As the argument escalates, they both try to keep their voices down so others at the picnic can't hear them.
You think I did this?
Oh, come on. This is the oldest story in the book.
See?
People have been telling this ghost story since forever ago.
See?
I'm not making this up. I swear to God. I don't have any explanation for this.
Guy picks up a girl on the side of the road, takes her to prom, and finds out later she's a ghost. It's an urban myth, Jimmy. People talk about it. Everybody knows somebody who swears by it, but it doesn't actually happen.
Well, it did to me. I haven't been able to sleep since then. I can't stop thinking about her. I drive down Lafayette Road almost every night just hoping she'll be there. It's like, I can't even control my own mind, man. I'm freaking out.
Bart looks around, seeing the conversation getting out of control and hoping nobody's noticing.
I'm not doing this, Bart. How long have we been friends? What, 5, 6 years now? Have I ever done anything like this to you?
No, you haven't.
No, and I'm not doing it now.
Okay, all right. It's not you. I'm sorry.
Okay, they take a beat, calm down, and they recompose themselves.
Okay, then somebody else is doing this. I mean, somebody is punking you.
No, you didn't see the picture.
Pictures can be fake, Jimmy.
But why did someone go through this much trouble? Why me?
I don't know. Why'd they glue your locker shut a year ago? You're an easy target.
A beat passes. Jimmy's temporarily speechless. His mother calls to him.
Jimmy, your Aunt Ruby is leaving.
I'll be right there.
He turns back to Bart.
I'll have to find out what's going on. I have to find out what's going on here.
I think you should let it go. I mean, it was a good prank. Hey, somebody got you.
Come on. Let's have some fun my last summer before college. A good mystery. I love a good mystery.
Never good mystery. He pats Bart on the shoulder, smiles at him, and then he walks back to the party.
Okay, Encyclopedia Brown.
Okay, does anybody get that reference? Am I ancient? Okay, you and me, Aaron. We olds got to stick together. Okay. After a beat, Bart looks back at Jimmy, saying goodbye to his aunt. He looks concerned. Interior of Jimmy's car at night. Jimmy's in the passenger seat, and Lavender is sitting next to him. They're in their prom clothes.
I can't help but wish I'd met you a long time ago.
Me too.
Nobody believes that you're real.
She grabs his hand and puts it on her upper thigh.
Don't I feel real?
Yes.
Then that's all that counts.
Sexy time. She leans in toward him and kisses him. He kisses her back, lost in the moment. And then suddenly bright lights flash across their faces and Jimmy looks up and a truck is barreling toward them, horn blaring. Jimmy screams and then he wakes up in bed, startled, breathing heavy. He pulls his legs off to the side and he rubs his face in his hands, distressed.
Every night.
So he's just obsessed with this girl. He's having nightmares about her. He can't get her out of his head. What's happening? So exterior Lafayette Road night, Jimmy's car pulls up to the side of the road and he kills the engine. In the car, Jimmy's apprehensive. He looks around at his surroundings before opening the door. He gets out of the car and scans the area, taking in the night sounds. Nothing down the road either direction as far as he can see. He opens the back door and pulls out a bag and he puts it on top of the trunk and opens it, taking out some sheets of paper printed off from the internet titled Ghost Hunting 101. Again, no cell phones in this world. He also unloads a digital video camera. That's ancient. A voice recorder and a digital thermometer. He puts an earpiece from the recorder in his ear and turns on the video camera. We got an act out going over here. Lost my place. He's using a flashlight to find the night vision button, scans across the pages one more time, then ventures out into the dark. So he's got all this equipment. He's going to go find Lavender. Jimmy walks away from his car, scanning with the camera. Tiny LCD screen is his only view of the world. The night sounds are magnified by the earbud in his ear. A rustling noise behind him gets his attention, and he looks back, startled in the pitch blackness. He points the camera at he points the camera at a sound, and then sees the Ghost Hunting 101 papers blowing off of his car. And he starts to go run at him, and then he says, screw it. And he turns back around. He continues walking and scanning in the dark.
Lavender? I'm looking for Lavender. If Lavender is here, please speak up or reveal yourself.
Reveal yourself! He checks the temperature on the digital thermometer when a rattle comes from the trees. Completely startled, he raises his camera again. In the screen, the trees are still. Then another rattle, and then the branches shake. Completely wide-eyed, Jimmy slowly approaches the bushes.
Lavender? Is that you?
The branches shake again, and Jimmy stops moving. Dun, dun, dun. Silence. Stillness. After a long beat, Jimmy takes a couple of steps toward the trees when something jumps out at him. Jimmy falls to the ground as it blows past him and across the road. He scrambles to point the camera at it, and that's when he finally does, and he sees it's a deer. I am not above cheap jump scares, as you can tell in this script. There's not a lot of them, but that's one of them. He pauses. The deer pauses briefly on the other side of the road and then bounds into the trees. He breathes heavily and tries to relax, rolling onto his back and pounding the ground with his fist. And then he shakes his head and rolls his eyes at himself. So pounding, shaking, rolling. Okay. That's the cadence of disappointment that Jimmy is expressing here. Okay. So interior library day, a little bit later, next day, next couple days, whenever. Jimmy's walking through the library holding a slip of paper in his hand. He passes by row after row, scanning the numbers on the end before finally turning down an aisle. He looks down the row and finds what he's looking for. It's all the yearbooks for the high school through the years. He narrows his search down and he finds the 60s. 1964, the year Lavender died, is missing. It's missing. So he grabs 1963. At a table, a little bit after that, my fingers, Jimmy sits at the table and goes through the book, sipping on soda. He finds the class pictures and scans down to the V's, and there she is. Lavender Van Pyle, 1963. He looks at her picture, and it's definitely Lavender. Her hair is fixed slightly different. She's slightly younger, but it's her. He sits back for a beat, rubbing his forehead, trying to piece all this together. He stares off into space briefly, just struggling to process this. Looks at the picture again. He's entranced by it. He rubs his finger across it longingly. He's totally wrapped up in this picture, and then suddenly a voice.
What are you doing?
Startled, Jimmy looks up. It's the librarian.
Nothing. I was just looking.
You can't drink sodas in here.
She points at the soda on the desk.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't thinking.
I gotta take it.
Okay, my bad. Sorry.
With a scolding look, she takes the soda and walks away. Jimmy turns back to the book and flips it over. On the cover is a stamp that reads, "Not for checkout. Do not remove from the library." He looks around to make sure nobody's looking.
I've already broken one rule today.
So he slides the book into his bag. Interior fast food restaurant, day. Bart's on his lunch break grabbing a burger when Jimmy walks in the door and makes his way over to him.
Hey, what up, dude?
Hey, how'd you know I was here?
I always come here on your lunch break.
I hate being predictable.
Wanted to show you something.
Jimmy pulls the yearbook out of his bag.
I've got about 5 minutes, dude.
Jimmy opens up the yearbook.
That's okay. I'm about to blow your mind in 5 seconds.
He finds the page and holds it up to Bart. Bart sees it and his brows furrow.
1963.
Bart wipes his hand and takes the yearbook.
Lavender Van Pyle.
Yep.
Bart closes the yearbook and hands it back to him.
I thought we decided this was someone playing a prank.
Jimmy can't believe he's not swayed. He opens the book back up to her picture.
Is this or is this not the girl we picked up on Lafayette Road and took to the prom?
It looks like her. I'll admit that. It doesn't mean anything.
You actually think someone went through all this trouble, researched the town's history, found this story about this girl from 40 years ago, then went out and found an actress that looks just like her, hired her, then set her out on a random street that they somehow knew we'd be driving down, all just to play one last prank on some nobody band geek before school's out? That makes sense to you?
Bart leans forward to emphasize his point.
You actually think you went to prom with a dead girl? That makes sense to you?
Jimmy flips through the book to some more pictures of Lavender.
Not just any dead girl. A cheerleader. Voted most friendly.
He starts to open to another page as Bart stands, crushing down his bag of food and chuckling.
Oh my God. You are going to wind up in a loony bin, man. Look, do me a favor. Let's go see a movie tonight or something. You you definitely need an escape from reality for a while. I got to go back to work.
Jimmy walks toward the door. Actually, Bart is walking
She
toward the
played
door. I said that
varsity.
wrong.
Oh. She played varsity basketball.
Bart stops and walks back to Jimmy, standing over him.
Look, I don't know what happened that night. I don't know what went down between you two at the prom. Obviously, whatever it was, it meant a lot for you, and I'm sorry that it turned out like this, but for all I know, someone here stumbled on that story and just happened to have a cousin that looks just like her, and they just decided to have a little fun. And you just happened to be the guy who happened to find her. And now they're laughing their asses off that you totally actually bought it.
What do I care?
Bart cuts him off.
Or
Yeah, whatever they want to.
Or something really did happen that night that can't be explained. Either way, you've got a great story to tell the kids someday. But also, either way, you're going to drive yourself crazy trying to figure it out. I'm telling you, just let this go, okay?
I don't think I can.
Look, just find something else to keep you busy this summer. Like tonight, we'll see a movie. I'll call you.
Jimmy nods and Bart walks out. Jimmy closes the yearbook. Exterior, Lafayette Road, night. Jimmy's car pulls up on the side of the road. He kills the engine and sits there for a long beat. Can I just say, I'm going to make a lot of fun of this screenplay as we go along. I actually really like this particular scene. I want to see this. I want to see this someday. I like this scene. Anyway, so Jimmy's in his car. He sighs at himself and he shakes his head.
All right, Jimmy. You're going to try this one last thing. And if there's no lavender, you're never coming back here again. Really.
He sits there for another long beat, talking himself into it before finally he opens the door. On the side of the road just after, Jimmy's sitting on the grass beside his car. He's holding a small flashlight in his mouth as he takes something out of a box and sets it on the ground. He folds it open. It's a Ouija board. He looks around at the different pieces. Obviously, he has no idea what he's doing. He puts a piece of paper and pencil next to him and a planchette, that's the slider, on the board. He takes the flashlight out of his mouth and sets it on the ground.
Lavender, if you can hear me, send me a message.
He closes his eyes and starts sliding the planchette around the board. He stops at the letter H. He writes it down.
Hello? Maybe?
He does it again and gets the letter O. He scowls a little, not knowing what it means.
Howdy?
He does it again and he gets an X. He sighs and writes it down, closes his eyes and concentrates. So much so that he doesn't notice the female legs that have appeared behind him.
You don't really believe in that, do you?
He springs forward and scrambles to his feet, letting out a comic scream. Go for it. Perfect. He shines a flashlight back at his car. It's Lavender. She's still in her prom dress. She laughs at the spectacle. He's not laughing. He's freaked out and he stands with his feet apart like he could take off in a mad run at any moment.
Okay. Who are you?
Lavender calmly looks down at the Ouija board.
I didn't even think that you could use this with one person.
Really, her? Are you someone's cousin?
She's still titillated by the board and she looks closer.
Hawks? Whatever language that is, I don't speak it.
Hey, I'm asking you something.
Maybe it's supposed to say hoax? Like this board is just a big ol' hoax.
Hey.
So he's like, listen to me. So she finally looks up at him and she smiles.
Hi, Jimmy.
Jimmy just stands there, breathing heavily.
I take it by your reaction that you found your jacket.
Yeah, I found it. Why didn't you tell me?
Hey, thanks a lot. Enjoyed the prom, by the way. I'm dead. Yeah, I mean, what was I supposed to say?
Jimmy loosens up a little bit, but he's still alert, pointing his flashlight at her.
I just had a really good time with you, and you had a good time too. And I didn't want to ruin it.
Damn it. Oh, okay.
He was so wrapped up in the emotion, guys.
Yeah, my page went weird, wacky. So you're really a ghost.
Boo.
Well, how come I can't see through you? Hmm? How come I can't feel you? And how come I can feel you and dance with you? And you were eating food, for crying out loud.
Lavender calmly seats herself on the hood of Jimmy's car.
I'm just that type of ghost.
How do I know you're really a ghost then? You're not really just someone screwing with me.
I guess you don't.
Do something ghostly.
Do something ghostly.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
She vanishes and reappears right behind Jimmy and speaks right into his ear.
Like what?
He whips around, freaked out. He's pointing his flashlight behind him, but she's reappeared back on the hood. She's laughing at him.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was cruel, but effective.
Jimmy tries to get himself back together. He's still pointing the flashlight at her.
Why? I don't understand.
Now do you see why I didn't tell you? Even after all of this, you still can't comprehend it.
She hops off the car and walks over to him. He still has the flashlight pointed at her face.
Jimmy, would you mind getting that light out of my face?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
He turns the flashlight off and she kind of blinks a little.
That's better. Now I can see you.
She brushes her hand across his cheek, kind of comforting him.
I have so many questions.
I know.
Dissolve 2. Exterior on the night sky. Night. The stars are twinkling. A plane light blinks across the sky.
So, this was the last thing you saw?
Yep.
Jimmy and Lavender are laying side by side in the grass on the side of the road, looking up at the stars.
This is where I wound up.
How far did the car throw you?
It didn't throw me at all. It knocked me off my feet and I went under. I bounced around in the undercarriage at first, and then my arm got caught in the wheel well, and then it dragged me for a while.
Jimmy is just horrified by the brutality of it.
And this is where the car finally stopped?
She points a little further down the road.
Oh no, the car stopped over there. This is where my arm came off.
A long beat. Jimmy is utterly speechless.
Wow.
Yeah, that wasn't fun.
That's no way for a girl like you to go.
Maybe you don't know what kind of girl I am.
At a tree, later on, Jimmy and Lavender sit leaning up against a tree, plucking grass as they talk.
So what's it like?
What's what like?
Dying, I mean? Does it hurt? I've heard a guy say you go into a bliss state and you can't feel anything.
That's not true. It hurts. It hurts. But it's over quickly.
I'd rather believe what the other guy said.
Did the other guy die?
Guess not.
It hurts. I mean, so does childbirth, so does losing your baby teeth, and growing pains, and getting your heart broken. They hurt. But, that's just part of moving from one stage of life to another. Death is just the very last stage.
Do you see your dead relatives when you go?
I didn't, but I think it's different for everybody.
So you can just disappear and reappear whenever you want.
Pretty much.
Where do you go when you disappear?
You don't really go anywhere. You kind of go everywhere.
Have you ever haunted anyone? Just for the hell of it? Just for fun?
If you're not careful, you're going to make me think that the only reason you like me is because I am dead.
Well, if you were from Chicago, I'd be asking you about Chicago. But being that you're dead and all.
All right. Fair enough. What was the question?
Have you ever haunted anybody?
Aren't I doing that right now?
Jimmy raises an eyebrow. Later on, they're laying on the hood of his car, leaning against the windshield.
So, I didn't see on your jacket. What did you letter in?
What? You mean like athletics?
Yeah, that was a varsity jacket, wasn't it?
No, that was a band jacket.
What?
She sits up, eyes wide.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm in band.
You're a band geek?
All-state clarinet band geek. I'll have you know.
I went to prom with a band geek.
Oh my God. You mean this shit still matters after you're dead?
Well, a girl's gotta have her standards, but apparently I'll date anything with a pulse now.
She lays back down on the car.
Pulse appears to be optional for me these days.
She smirks at him. He leans over to her.
Dear, if I can get over doing the prom with a corpse, I think you can get over going with a band geek.
Slowly, she cracks a smile. Then she holds his hand.
Yeah. My band geek.
This is so spooky, guys. It's such a spooky movie. Hope y'all can sleep tonight. Okay. So later on the Ouija board, Jimmy's picking up the pieces of the board. Lavender standing behind him.
I still can't believe you thought that would work.
You showed up, didn't you?
Yeah, so I could laugh at you.
There is a method to my madness.
He boxes up the board and throws it in the passenger seat and then turns back to her, and they share an uncomfortable silence.
So, am I going to have to break out that thing every time I want to see you?
No, I'll be here if you come by. Promise. But I can only see you at night and only here.
How come?
There's a lot of rules.
So I'll see you soon?
I'll be waiting.
They lean in to kiss each other, but again, she stops herself and settles for an air kiss and a nice little hug. Jimmy looks a little confused, but he doesn't press it.
All right.
All right. So he gets in his car and he drives away. She smiles and waves at him as she goes. His car fades away down the road, and then her smile turns into a look of irritation. She walks away. Jimmy's car pulls up outside the house of, or exterior of Jimmy's house, pulls up outside the house and he walks in the door. It's late, very late. And he walks up to the front door trying to be quiet. As he sticks the key in the door, something moves to the side of the house. He sees it out of the corner of his eye and he jumps looking over at it, but he doesn't see anything. After a beat, he turns the key and he walks in. Interior den just after. As Jimmy walks in, he looks up and he's startled to see his father Mel standing right in front of him holding the cordless phone. Cordless phone. This is clearly the 90s, guys. He's not happy.
Morning, son.
Jimmy closes
Hey,
the
Dad.
door behind him.
Hey, Dad.
Before the door closes, Mel cautions him.
Gently.
Jimmy looks behind Mel and sees Deborah asleep on the couch, so he closes the door and he locks it quietly.
Now I'm going to keep my voice down while I say this to you, son. Your mother made me promise to wake her up as soon as you came home. But I'm not going to do that. No. All right. What I am going to do, okay? If I wake her up right now, nobody in this house is going to get any sleep at all tonight. But she was worried sick. Okay? And this phone, it isn't broken. I checked. It's not broken.
Dad. Dad, she doesn't have to worry about me. I'm fine.
He doesn't know that. Okay? She doesn't.
She still acts like I'm 12 years old. I'm a high school graduate.
And a lot of bad things happen to kids right at high school. They start having too much fun. There's the chicks.
I'm not a kid anymore.
Mel gestures for him to be quiet. Jimmy complies.
God, all through high school, I was the biggest Boy Scout. I never did anything wrong. I never went to parties. I never snuck out. I had no social life. Now that I've finally graduated, shouldn't I be able to do that?
Not while you're living in this house. Look, I'm not saying you can't do anything. Just let us know where you are. Can you do that? Is that okay?
Jimmy sighs and nods.
And listen, you're gonna get another earful from her tomorrow. I probably will too. So now I'm gonna ask you something quietly. Go to bed. Talk about this in the morning.
Aaron is comatose, y'all. So Jimmy walks away, annoyed. Once out of the room, Mel looks back at Deborah on the couch, and he turns off the light. And scene. Applause, everybody. Applause to Aaron for acting out that scene. That she was stand out at that scene. All right, okay. Interior Jimmy's bedroom just after. Jimmy kicks off his shoes and he lays down in the bed in his clothes, leaving only a bedside light on. He curls up into the pillow, comfortable. A slight smile forms on his face. Lavender's obviously in his thoughts. Then a strange sound enters his consciousness, a clicking sound mixed with a whisper that has no words. It gets more and more audible, and his smile fades along with it. His brows furrow, and he tries to make out the strange noise. Eventually his eyes open. As he begins to turn his head, a shadow on the wall behind him creeps up the wall and out the window. He just misses it and looks around him, suspicious. Dun dun dun. Exterior picnic table day. Jimmy is sitting by himself at a picnic table across the street from the store, having lunch. He looks up and sees Bart walking toward him with a brown bag in his hand and waves at him, excited. Bart sighs audibly and rolls his eyes when he sees him, but he continues over and he sits down.
Hey, dude.
Bart pulls a slip of paper out of his pocket with gibberish on it.
Really? A coded message?
I didn't want anyone to overhear what I'm about to tell you.
Jimmy looks around, suspicious, and then leans in to say,
I saw her again last night.
Bart looks around mockingly and then leans forward.
The lady in lavender.
He leans back, going, yeah. Bart stares at him.
You saw Lavender again.
Yep.
Last night,
Yep.
when we were supposed to be at the movie.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
You were serious about that?
Bart sighs with frustration as he pulls the food out of his bag.
yeah, Jimmy, I was actually.
Well, sorry. But did you hear what I said? She's real.
Yeah, I did hear that. I assume you mean real as in a real person and not a ghost.
No, she's a ghost, dude. She disappeared right in front of me. Told me all about death and the afterlife and about how she died, what happened when the car hit her and her arm came off.
That's romantic.
Actually, it was. It was. I've never been able to just open up to a girl like that before. She actually accepts me for who I am. I mean, think about it. Here's this beautiful girl, cheerleader, who was really popular in school.
At the same time as your grandma. You ever think about that?
Dude, my mom was born in 62. My grandma would have been in college.
So, I mean, if you two had kids, would they be like zombies, like half dead, half living?
Oh, no. It's a mess.
Oh no!
Shut. Yeah.
Screen read foul.
Shut it. Yeah.
Too much
Oh,
passion.
and if I dug up her body and had sex with it, would that be cheating?
Not funny, dude.
Well, seriously, Jimmy, are you sure you didn't just imagine her disappearing? Like, sure it wasn't like a magic trick?
Positive, okay? I was standing right in front of her.
Whatever. Look, just be careful. I think you might be in dangerous waters.
If it's dangerous, how come I feel so great?
It's dangerous because it feels so great.
Bart checks his watch and starts scarfing down his sandwich.
Oh, this was funny. She asked me what I lettered in, because of the jacket. So I had to explain to her.
And Bart looks at Jimmy concerned because he just can't stop talking about her. So Jimmy's in that place where he's just in love and everything's about this girl and he's obsessed with her. And Bart's like, yeah, shut up. Okay, so now we're gonna get into a bit of a montage. Even Rocky had a montage. Gonna have a montage. Okay, so exterior Lafayette Road night. Jimmy pulls up in the car and gets out. Lavender is standing off near the trees. She approaches the car and Jimmy walks around to her, giving her a big hug.
You came back.
I told you I would.
And you're still rocking the prom dress.
A little tip: dress nice when you die, because you'll be stuck in it forever.
He smiles and they walk away holding hands. Cut to exterior basketball court day. Jimmy and Bart are throwing up some hoops, and Jimmy's just going on incessantly about Lavender, and Bart looks at him concerned and still not believing. His friend's losing his freaking mind. Interior library day. The librarian is stacking books behind a counter. A male voice is heard.
Excuse me.
Can I help you?
Where do I get microfiche for the local paper?
What year?
She turns around. It's Bart.
1964.
Yeah! Let's do a little CSI Miami. You didn't put the glasses on. That didn't work at all. Anyway, so he's looking at articles for 1964 to see if he can stir up any information about Lavender. So we
How
cut
much
back
of
to
the audience
Lafayette Road.
knows what microfiche is.
Yeah, exactly. What year is this? What decade are we in? I don't even
I know what that is because my high school was way behind the times. But
yeah, we had microfiche when I was, but I'm ancient. So
If Lavender died 40 years ago, then I assume it's 2004.
yeah.
Good job on that math.
yeah,
Well, I am a librarian, so.
that's why you got cast today.
Yeah.
So we cut to Lafayette Road. Jimmy and Lavender are like climbing a tree together. They're just doing fun teenager love stuff. Back to the library. So this is a weird montage because on one hand you've got like, if I lay here, like this teen romance thing. And then you've got like this guy sleuthing. So it's like, yeah, to boom, boom. So I don't know how this works. But anyway, So we're at the library at a microfiche table. Bart's scrolling through the roll of microfiche, the black and white images, creating a gray blur as they zip across the screen. No one in my audience knows what microfiche is. A box sitting next to his hand reads 1964 to 1969. So he's looking at this stuff. As it scrolls, he stops intermittently to see what date it is, and at one point he stops the tape at a picture of a car on the side of the road, and he zips past it but stops himself, his brows furrow. He scrolls back, trying to find the picture, and he finally comes across it. It's a very familiar scene. He looks closer on the caption. It's Lafayette Road. The picture is connected to a story about a recent high school graduate, a boy who disappeared and whose car was found on Lafayette Road. This intrigues him, and he writes down the date, May 22nd, 1968. Exterior Lafayette Road, Jimmy's laying on the ground, leaning against a tree with his arms around Lavender.
You know what's funny about life? It's that you work so hard to look a certain way, to be a certain type of person, to achieve certain goals and whatnot. And one day it's over, just like that. And you look back and you realize none of it matters at all. And you can't believe that you took it all so seriously.
So this is obviously matching what Mel said earlier. So he was talking about high school. She's talking about life. Yes, I wrote that. Thank you. Thinking back on what his father said, Jimmy smiles. Interior of Jimmy's house night. Jimmy's in a heated argument with Mel and Deborah, who are in their pajamas, upset that he was home so late again. So this is all kind of montaging still. Interior library day, still at the microfiche table. Bart scrolls through until he gets to May of 1964. Then something else catches his eye. It's a picture of Lavender for an obituary. He prints off a page. Lafayette Road again. Jimmy and Lavender are up a tree. Lots of tree climbing here because you can. The same tree they were climbing earlier. Lavender starts talking to him.
Does it ever bother you that you can't be intimate with me?
Jimmy has to think about it. Jimmy is a hopeless romantic, by the way. So he's just like happy a girl is into him. Sorry, go ahead.
I used to get really annoyed when I saw a couple holding hands or being affectionate in public because I didn't have that, and I wanted it. But now I almost feel sorry for them because I have you, which alone is awesome. But on top of that, I have you all to myself. So I mean, nobody else even knows you exist, and if I told them, they wouldn't believe me. I can just come out here and be with you and put the world on hold. So what's more intimate than that?
Oh, she smiles and she rubs her face into his neck. Back at the library, Bart's still at the microfiche table. He goes back a few days and finds the story of her accident. He searches the article and finds the details. The article confirms that she was dragged by the truck and that her arm was severed, just like Jimmy said. All this is working out, people. Bart sits back in his chair, flabbergasted. How could he have known this? He picks up the microfiche box. There's a distinct layer of dust on top of it. He's thinking that maybe Jimmy came in and he looked at it himself. But no, there's dust on the top, so nobody's looked at this in a long time. So he wipes it with his thumb, revealing that it's been undisturbed. He calls to the librarian. I almost said bartender.
He calls the libertarian?
Yeah, he calls the libertarian.
Ma'am, when was the last time someone looked at these?
I have no idea. Years, probably.
He is chilled to the bone. Lavender's for real. There's no prank on Jimmy or by Jimmy. He prints the article, and then he finds himself staring at the date he wrote down earlier, May 22nd, 1968. He scans back through the microfiche. And then we're back at Lafayette Road, and Jimmy's playing the clarinet for her. She's enjoying the show, a couple in love. Back at the library, Bart scans the microfiche back to the article about the missing boy. He finds it and begins reading it. It becomes completely sucked in as the certain words stick out to him. Recent graduate, prom night, Lafayette Road, unknown female. He prints it out. Jimmy's bedroom, dusk. He's munching on some chips, reading a magazine, and in the background, a shadow moves across the wall. He looks up, suspecting something, then looks behind him, but the creeping shadow slithers out the window before he sees it. Back at the computer terminal, Bart, armed with the articles he has printed, I'm reading a lot here, people, sits in front of a computer and begins filling out the blanks on a search screen. He enters the words Picayune Register, that's the local newspaper. He searches for the years 1964 to 2005. So he's on a computer now, What year are we? He types in the keywords missing graduate and hits search, and the hourglass turns over and over again. Again, what year is this? As the computer searches for records, his foot taps with anticipation and sighs with annoyance until the screen finally comes up. Dozens of articles appear. As he scrolls through the articles, something very striking occurs to him. 75% of the articles are written in the month of May. He writes down the dates, several of them from the years 1968, 1970, 74, 79, 85, 90, 93, and 99. Back in Jimmy's bedroom, he's impatiently tapping his foot on the floor, waiting for the clock that reads 8:55. He scribbled a notepad in front of me, reads 9 o'clock or so. Oh, okay. So he can't go out and see her until 9 o'clock for some reason. So he's just sitting there waiting. So on his way out the front door in the living room, Deborah is watching TV.
I'm going out.
Who with?
That girl I told you about.
When are we ever going to meet her?
Mm.
Well, call if you're going to be late.
I will.
He heads out. She shouts after him.
Hey, Jimmy, we talked about this. I'm serious. I swear I'm going to call the police someday.
Foreshadowing. She closes the door. She shakes her head. Am I giving stuff away when I say foreshadowing? I don't care. Exterior house. Just after Jimmy walks out to his car, he's getting out his keys. As he approaches the car, something at the corner of the house catches his eye. Another one of these weird shadows, almost shaped like a person. He looks at the light. Wondering if maybe that's casting the shadow, and he approaches it to get a better look. Closer, and then suddenly it walks around the corner of his house. Whoa, jump scare. It startles Jimmy so much that he falls down, he jumps back up, and keeping a distance, looks around the corner, and he sees nothing. A little freaked, he goes back to his car. All right, back at the library. In a montage, Bart researches articles on microfiche and online regarding the missing graduates he'd looked up before. Certain facts of the articles jump out at him. They were all males. They all occurred after the prom or the day of the prom or in the weeks following the prom. Yet another mention of Lafayette Road. A couple mentions that he was exceedingly happy in the days beforehand. He prints off a page after page of articles, quickly becoming as consumed in Lavender as Jimmy is. At one point, while being totally immersed in the article over the PA...
The library will be closing in 5 minutes.
This startles him, and he looks around at the empty library, then looks over at the librarian.
That means me.
And she nods. Okay. Finally out of that montage. That's like a whole movie right there. Okay. Or maybe it feels like it because I had to read the whole thing. So exterior playground.
Trilogy.
Say what?
That's the middle part of the trilogy. This
Oh, right. Okay. So this was the desolation of Smog.
Yes.
Smaug.
Smog.
Smog. All right. So now we're at a playground during the day. Jimmy's doing chin-ups, getting some exercise on an obstacle course. Bart walks around the corner and sees him and approaches. He's carrying a bag.
Wow. Your mom said you were out here. I had to see it to believe it. Since when have you worked out?
Never hurts. Got some extra time these days.
And a girl to impress?
Some of the greatest feats in human history were made by a geek trying to impress a girl.
Bart squeezes Jimmy's bicep.
Let's call this a lesser feat. Can I talk to you for a minute?
If you don't mind walking with me, I'm kind of on a circuit.
Jimmy goes to the next station and Bart follows.
If I told you I spent the last 3 weeks staring at microfiche and found out that you were right, that Lavender was real, would you feel vindicated?
I wouldn't need you to tell me something I already know, but sure.
So Bart digs into his bag.
Well, what if I told you that I found something else, something you didn't know?
When he looks up, Jimmy's started swinging across the monkey bars away from him. Bart kind of rolls his eyes and follows, walking beside the hanging Jimmy as he talks.
I think your girlfriend has seen guys.
Jimmy laughs and almost falls off the bars.
If there's anything I don't have to worry about with her, it's that she's going to cheat on me.
Not now, in the past.
He flashes the printouts toward Jimmy. Jimmy pauses and hangs for a second, then tries to go again, then loses his grip and falls. He kind of feels his sore hands as he glances at the pages.
What is that?
Old articles from the paper.
Jimmy jumps back up and continues on the bars. He couldn't care less. Bart follows.
According to the Picayune Register, between 1964 and the year 2000, 8 different senior class guys have gone missing. All of them disappeared on the day of their prom or soon after, and 2 of their cars were found on Lafayette Road.
Jimmy reaches the end of the bars and drops down.
I think she has something to do with it, man.
Of course you do, Bart. First, you've had a problem with her since we first saw her on the side of the road. So
That's not what this is about, man.
Of course it is. You stumble across an interesting pattern and automatically assume it's her.
Several guys around prom night, this is just an interesting pattern to you?
Bart, how many hundreds, no, thousands of guys have gone through this school in the last 40 years? And how many crazy ass parties are thrown every year between prom and graduation? You're alarmed that 8 guys have gone missing through all that? I'm surprised there's not more.
Bart sighs and puts the papers away, just shaking his head.
She's a great person, Bart. I just wish you could see her like I do.
Jimmy, if she's such a great person, have you ever wondered why she didn't just float up to heaven when she died like everybody else does?
She's just that kind of ghost.
Jimmy starts jogging away, but yells back to him.
Hey, you working Saturday?
No.
Let's see a matinee. I'll call you.
Jimmy runs away and Bart sighs. He kicks a rock, frustrated. That's the universal cinematic clue that somebody is frustrated. They kick a rock, right? Okay, glad we're all on board.
I do.
Great
poor
device.
rocks, just getting kicked for no reason. Kareem, did I have you done for Harold?
I was wondering that. No, you did not, but I can take Harold.
Do you mind taking it?
Harold? Ready?
You got it? Okay. I just realized I didn't write that down. I sorry about that. So,
No problem.
so what I do
you?
think is, say what?
Wait. What do you want me to do?
I want you to read Harold. Can you read
I
Harold?
hat for Hubert. That's what I did. I've been waiting for
Harold, Hubert. I mean,
all right. I can do a Hubert. I can do a Harold.
they could be the same person. I don't care.
All right.
Now, one thing that I do think is kind of fun about this is at first Jimmy is trying to convince Bart that Lavender is real, and then Jimmy or Bart decides that Lavender is real, but she's a threat, and now he's trying to convince Jimmy that she's a threat. So it's like Jimmy's convincing Bart, and now Bart's trying to convince Jimmy. Anyway, turnabout's fair play. So now we're at a suburban house during the day. Random suburban house. Bart walks down the street and up to the house. He stops and double checks the number on the mailbox, then takes a deep breath and approaches the front door. He knocks on the door and waits, and then finally the door opens and an older gentleman, Harold Barrett, mid-60s, answers.
Can I help you?
Hi. Are you Mr. Barrett?
Depends. What are you selling?
Oh no, I'm not selling anything. I just had some questions for you.
About what?
Well, was your son Justin Barrett?
Yes, he was.
Do you mind if I ask some questions about him?
What for, young man?
I'm working for the school paper, and I wanted to do a series about unsolved mysteries from the school's past. I thought it might be good for the kids to know Justin's story.
Shouldn't you be on summer vacation, young man?
Oh, just want to get a head start, you know.
All right, so interior of the Barrett house, study day. Bart's sitting across from Mr. Barrett looking at old packs of pictures. Mr. Barrett rifles through his desk.
Well, I'm sorry if I'm not very good at answering your questions. Justin's mother did all the talking when all this happened, but she passed on a few years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that, sir.
Well, you know, things happen, and I know you have some. I know I have some here. I have some pictures from him at the prom somewhere. His friends gave them to us after he disappeared.
When was the last time you saw him?
So it was about 6 o'clock the night of the prom. That's when he left here. The report said he got to the prom close to 7 and that he left at about 10:30 and was going to a party. That's the last anybody saw of him. Yeah, they found his car out on what's the name of that road?
Lafayette Road?
Yeah, yes, yeah, that's it. Aha, here it is.
He pulls a pack out of the desk and hands it to Bart, who dives right into them. He sees pictures of Justin posing with his friends, casual shots from a distance, some of the other people with him in the background, etc., all dressed in early 80s attire.
Now, there were some others that the police took when they were investigating it. We never did get those back.
Bart continues flipping through the pictures when he gets to the one that stops him in his tracks. His eyes go wide. It's Justin dancing with a girl, both of them smiling at the camera. The girl is Lavender.
Can I borrow this one?
Nick's bringing his props, man. Yeah, the receipt earlier, and now you got the picture, and
This is a piece of cardboard.
you're going to be on a bike later on, and
Yeah.
you're ready for this. So in the grocery store later, Bart runs in the store and finds the closest phone, and he dials. Again, no cell phones in this world. Back in Jimmy's house, the phone rings, and Deborah answers it.
Hello?
Hi, Mrs. Anderson. Is Jimmy there?
No, he's not. Is this Bart?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, how are you doing, Bart?
I'm fine. I'm just I'm looking for do you know where Jimmy is?
No, he was going to wash his car, but that was a while ago. I think he had some other things he was going to do, but I don't know what.
Okay. Well, can you tell him that I called? It's kind of an emergency.
Oh, okay, Bart. Should he just call you at home?
Yeah, I guess. Thanks.
They hang up the phone. She doesn't really take him seriously when he's all like, "It's an emergency." Yeah. That's cute. Whatever.
Adults.
So, I'm glad I'm not one. So, in a flower shop later on that day, Jimmy walks in and looks around for some flowers. Doesn't take him too long. He just finds a small bundle that he likes, and he goes to the counter.
Will this be all for you?
Yes, please.
Would you like me to wrap this up into a bouquet?
Sure, thanks.
Just 1 second.
She heads to the back, and Jimmy looks to the end of the counter where he hasn't seen Mrs. Van Pyle, Lavender's mother, waiting on something. Yeah, Aaron's going to play like half the roles in this scene. So Mrs. Van Pyle turns to look at him. She's smiling.
You got yourself a date, boy?
Oh my God, the voice is awesome. Jimmy freezes in shock and finally answers.
Yeah.
She looks at him suspiciously.
You been treating her well?
Sure. Try to, I guess.
Well, don't suppose it'll matter in a little while anyway.
Jimmy's a little creeped out by that comment.
Why do you say that?
You'll be heading off to college soon, won't you?
Oh. Right.
The flower shop owner, an older woman than the one that helped out Jimmy. So there's two different flower shop people. Aaron's playing all of them. She walks out from the back and she hands Mrs. Van Pyle a bag of petals and a smaller bag of seeds.
I think this should do it for you. Thank you kindly.
She slowly makes her way out of the store just past Jimmy.
See you around, boy.
Ooh, she's creepy. She breaks the eye contact with a sly smirk and makes her way out the door where dusk is approaching. The girl who helped him comes back with his flowers.
Anything else for you?
Jimmy kind of whips back around.
No, that's all.
1042.
Jimmy hands her the money, and as she's making change, the owner walks around from the back, fluffing a flower arrangement. Jimmy gets her attention.
Excuse me, ma'am?
Yes?
Who was that lady who was just in here?
She smiles and talks to them as she arranges the flowers.
That was Mrs. Van Pyle. Was she talking to you?
The other lady gives Jimmy his change back.
Yeah, she was.
Don't let her bother you. She's an acquired taste, but nice enough once you get to know her. Kind of sad, really.
Curious, Jimmy kind of nudges for some more information.
Why do you say that?
Oh, she's just had a rough life. Daughter died on her, husband left her, and then she became really reclusive, and all kinds of stories started going around. People called her a witch when I was growing up.
Do you know anything about her daughter?
No. Well, when I was growing up, people said she ate her because she was a witch, but I somehow doubt that. It turns out she is sort of a, I guess, traditional doctor and herbalist. She's always making homemade remedies, poultices, stuff like that. She's always coming in here for stuff to make them.
Jimmy nods his head, intrigued.
She's just a lonely old lady.
So you guys can't see this where you are, but I had some text up on screen that I was flashing that says exposition alarm. Exposition alarm. Because that's the character that's just delivering the exposition. It's like the scene in Wayne's World where Chris Farley is the bodyguard or the limo driver, and he's like, he's on his way to the thing, on his way to Detroit, and he has like all these, and then he's just like, he had an awful lot of information for a bouncer, didn't he? Yeah. There are moments like that in this script. That was one of them. I had to play with that a little bit. So, right. So, the Miss Van Pyle's creepy. She does weird poultices and stuff, and she gets stuff from the flower shop, and we don't know what that's all about. So, Jimmy's
I
Bart.
know what microfiche is, but I don't know what poultices are. So, but
Is that the right word for it?
Yeah.
It's
Like
kind of like a
healing,
mixture. It's like
whatever,
a healing
lotion
salve that you make with.
Yeah.
context clues.
I'm going with it for now, anyway. All right, so we're in Bart's room. Bart sits in his room impatiently by the phone. He's gnawing on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He's probably eating it, too. Interior fast food restaurant dusk. Jimmy's kind of throwing down some food, looking at his watch, counting down the time to go see Lavender, because he's a man in love. Bart's room later. Bart's laying in bed, bouncing a ball off the wall nervously. He looks out the window. Night's fallen. He sits up in bed, looks at the clock. It's 8:55. He thinks a beat, then darts out of the room. So Jimmy's about to go see Lavender, and Bart's like trying to tell him about this thing that's about to happen to him. He's in trouble. So outside of Bart's house, he walks out of the garage with his bicycle and hops on, speeding out the driveway and down the road. Dun, 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 dun. Exterior Lafayette Road at night. Jimmy's car pulls up on the side of the road, and he hops out, happy and excited to see Lavender. He pulls out the bouquet of flowers, which might have lavender in it, and he walks to the dirt road leading to her house. As he walks, he sees a moving shadow out of the corner of his eye, one of those weird shadow things again. But he's used to it by now, and he just kind of keeps walking. Turning the corner, he sees Lavender sitting on a tree stump, but she looks upset, a bit gloomy.
Hello, sunshine.
Jimmy looks at the house up the road. The lights are on.
Your mother's still awake?
She nods her head and walks over to him.
I saw her earlier today. It was weird. It was like she knew something.
I know.
She seems on the verge of crying as she hugs him. She's really upset.
Hey, what's wrong?
She breaks into tears.
Whoa there. What's the matter?
I'm sorry. I'm just upset.
What have you got to be upset about? You're dead.
He shows her the flowers.
Does this help?
She takes them.
No. I mean, I appreciate it, but it doesn't help.
He's concerned now. Something's wrong. He grabs her.
Hey, Lavender, what's going on? Talk to me.
And she calms down, tears still in her eyes.
I'm sorry, Jimmy.
For what?
What is going on? So down the street, Bart pedals as fast as he can toward Lafayette Road. Lafayette Road, and Lavender and Jimmy are holding each other close. It's dramatic. They're sad. She's got to tell him something. What's she going to tell him, folks?
I can't begin to tell you what our time together has meant to me. You've been the sweetest, most wonderful person, and I can't keep doing this to you.
He steps back from her, concerned.
Wait, are you breaking up with me?
No, I mean, I don't know. I can't do this anymore. It's not fair to you and to the, it's just not.
He works up the nerve to tell her something.
I told my parents I'm not going to Georgia.
What?
I want to stay here with you.
Oh, Jimmy, don't be just so.
I know it's nuts. Crazy. I know. I'm turning down a big opportunity. I know we have no idea how this would work or what kind of life this would be. I don't care. All I know is I have never been happier and more at peace and more fulfilled than I am when I'm with you.
This is actually a moving moment, people. He's confessing, he's like letting it all out, all this obsession, all this craziness with her. So he says that, and then she says,
thank you for, because of me. Yeah, that was good for them.
You're moved, people.
Do I need to do that one again?
You mean that?
He steps forward and puts his hand on her shoulders.
I think about you all the time. I would do anything for you. I would suffer any pain if it meant you didn't have to feel a moment of pain. I know you're old fashioned about kissing, and I would give up everything for one moment with my lips on yours. It's killing me.
They have had all this time together, and he's just like, I want to kiss you. I love you so much. So he moves in closer, and she stares up at him, lost in the moment. A tear rolls down her cheek, Demi Moore style. At the end of Lafayette Road, Bart rides his bike past the Lafayette Road sign. He's getting closer. On Jimmy and Lavender, they lean into each other, and they kiss. Softly at first, but then it becomes more passionate, especially from Lavender. Mwah, mwah. As the kiss goes on, Jimmy begins to hear some noises. Clicks, whispers, then moans, then screams. He opens his eyes, which immediately go wide with fear. All around him, the shadow figures that he's been just missing out of the corner of his eye all this time begin to materialize in front of him. They circle around him like wolves on a prey. Everything seems to take on an evil life of its own, and it all seems very focused on Jimmy. He breaks off the kiss as he looks around, terrified. Lavender immediately lowers her head, crying.
What the hell is going on?
Slowly and intensely, she looks up at him.
Run.
Jimmy runs back to the car. Okay, I'm going in full narrator mode now. Jimmy turns back to the car, but a shadow figure swipes at him. He jumps back quickly, but he gets claw-like rips across his shirt. Lavender passes through Jimmy from behind and waves her hand at the shadow figure, which sends it away. She grabs Jimmy's hand and pulls him toward the car.
Come on!
They run to the end of the dirt road to his car.
You gotta get to consecrated ground.
Consecrated ground?
A church or a cemetery. It's the only place you'll be safe.
Why? What's going on?
Just do it!
Jimmy gets in the car and starts it up, driving away as fast as he can, shadow figures in hot pursuit.
Run!
On Bart, he can see Jimmy's car taking off into the night, and he pedals faster until he reaches Lavender. He stops when he gets to her.
What did you do?
She looks at him, still teary-eyed, and then disappears right in front of him. Bart's a little stunned, then tries to follow Jimmy down the road. On the Van Pyle's front porch, Lavender reappears on the front porch, looking back at the street. She turns and bumps into her mother, standing in the doorway, looking at her sternly.
What was that?
Lavender walks past her into the house, upset. Her mother watches her walk away and scowls.
Perpetual teenager.
So there's something going on there, and we don't know what that's all about. Okay, so interior of Jimmy's car. Jimmy drives like a bat out of hell as the shadow figures, real bats out of hell, start swarming around him. They weave in and out of the car, appearing in front of him on the road, and he swerves to avoid them. Jimmy's car swerves all over the road. The shadow's in hot pursuit. He hits a mailbox, sends it flying. Completely in a panic, he picks up the speed, and the shadows begin to lag behind. Bart, meanwhile, is riding on his bike as fast as he can, seeing the tire marks on the road and eventually riding past the destroyed mailbox. He's distracted and looking at the side of the road. Headlights suddenly flash in his eyes, and he veers off of the road, missing a truck, but crashing into a line of trees. He's thrown from the bike and sits up, leaves in his hair. He's out of the picture. Jimmy's outpaced the shadow figures, but they swarm around him in his rear view. He looks in the distance out the window and sees the church steeple. Back where Bart is, he quickly gets back to his bike onto the road and he tries to wheel away, but when he presses on the pedals, they spin in place, not locking into the gears. He messes with the gear shift and he tries to make it work, but it's no dice. He shakes the bike out of anger and, frustrated, throws it to the ground. Shit. So back to Jimmy's car, so Bart can't help him anymore. Jimmy's on his own. Jimmy's approaching a church as fast as he can go. The Shadow's still in hot pursuit. He turns down the road to the church and haphazardly parks his car. Allow me to take a swallow because I'm talking a lot right now. Exterior of the church. He jumps out and looks behind him. The shadows are closing in fast. There's a small cemetery adjacent to the church, and he makes a break for it. Just feet from the cemetery gate, one of the shadows trips him up, and he falls. He scoots backwards as fast as he can, kicking at the shadow as all the others descend on top of him. And just at that moment, he crosses the boundary into the cemetery, and the shadows jump backwards like they hit an electric fence or something. He sits there just inside the gate, watching the shadows swipe at him, thin, dark, clawed arms reaching out at him, but they can't touch him. He watches them in awe as he catches his breath and stands, stepping back into the cemetery just to be safe. The shadows pace back and forth, hissing and clicking at him, predatory. As Jimmy's regaining his senses, he begins to notice the sound of a harmonica. Do you really have a harmonica?
No.
Oh, it's a phone. Okay, all right.
Digital camera.
There might be a harmonica app on the phone, but not an actual harmonica. I was like, man, you guys are prepared.
Come on, man. I've been waiting for Hubert all night.
Like, this is the only part I care about. All right, so here's the sound of a harmonica, and he looks around the cemetery. To his far left, in the corner of the cemetery, he sees a man from behind leaning against a tombstone and rocking back and forth, very disturbed. At the other side of the cemetery is another man. So he's seeing ghosts now, like all kinds of ghosts. At the other side of the cemetery is another man leaning against another headstone, dressed in 50s attire, playing a harmonica. Jimmy slowly walks around to get a better look, keeping a very safe distance while wary of this crazy other guy. As he's walking around, the man suddenly stops playing, and Jimmy stops walking. The man slowly turns towards him and sees him. Jimmy stands there, frozen. The man, Hubert, aged about 57, addresses him.
You new here?
Jimmy hesitates, but he finally answers.
I don't know.
Hubert looks around the cemetery, trying to figure out where
Where'd they bury you?
They didn't. I'm not dead.
Well, yep, you're not the first person who couldn't deal with it, to tell you that one. Hey!
No, really, I'm not dead.
You must be part dead or we wouldn't be talking.
Wow. Been gearing up for that all night. All right, so Jimmy's kind of shaking his head out of confusion.
What are you doing here, boy?
Jimmy points at the shadow figures.
Getting away from those guys.
Hubert looks at the fence and sees the stalking shadow figures.
What in blazes? You sure pissed off somebody, boy. Woo! You're in...
Why? What are those things?
Wait. You got any smokes?
No, sorry.
First living person I've talked to in 30 years, and he doesn't have a damn smoke. All right. Okay. Anyway, name's Hubert.
Jimmy.
Nice to meet you, Jimmy. Those things? Don't suppose they have a name so much, but those are souls without an essence.
An essence?
Yeah, well, you don't know much, do you? All right. Let me break it down for you. Right. All right, well, there's two parts to a soul, the spirit and the essence. Got it? Follow me, boy? All right, now the essence defines the person and gives it energy. The spirit is sort of like a framework that gives it shape. Put both of those together with the body, and you got you, boy. Trust old Hubert. Now, anyway, all right. Now, well, you sure you don't have any smokes? No, no,
What?
I'm not getting nothing from you, Jimmy. Nothing. No smokes. All right. Anyways. Okay.
How do you?
All right. And then you got you. Take away the body, and then you got me. Take away the essence, and you get those things. All right.
How do you? How do you take away the essence?
Well, now, don't know, but a spirit alone has no control over itself. This is like some hooky science, all right? If those things are chasing you, it's because someone else is telling them to. Okay? That's why I say you pissed off somebody, boy.
What the hell? What did I do?
All right, I say the bigger question is how come they can see you at all if you're living? I don't know. That's the big mystery right there.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
The living and the dead are on different planes of existence.
Uh-huh.
Dead can't see living people, and the living can't see dead people.
Uh-huh.
All right. Now, there could be a marching band of living people stomping through the cemetery right now, but I wouldn't know because I can't see them. Now, only way I know any of these living have been here is if they leave something on my grave. Yeah. Which hasn't happened in a long time. Long while. Guess that's how you know they've all forgotten. Well, now about old Hubert got it. He's okay. Anyway, that's where we're at right now, dear Jimmy.
Okay. I think you may be wrong about that. I've kind of been seeing a ghost for a while now.
Excuse me. What? Well, you apparently have the ability to do that.
No, you don't understand. This was way before these guys showed up, and a lot of people saw her. I took her to prom.
Hubert kind of gives him a blank stare.
Come again.
I didn't even know she was dead. I gave her a ride. We danced. Everybody saw her.
Hold on. Now you danced with this girl.
Yes.
So you can touch her.
Yes.
You mean this didn't happen?
He swipes his hand through Jimmy's body, and Jimmy is creeped out by it.
Ah!
Oh well, that's
No, I swear on, well, your grave.
Hubert takes a second to think about this.
That's impossible. That's impossible.
It's true.
Look, when you die, most people go up or down. The morally ambiguous types, they kind of stay here. But they're confined to cemeteries or the location they died. They can't travel away from that. And they can't see or be seen by the living. And you sure as hell can't touch them like another living thing or person.
She did.
Hubert leans back against the gravestone, thinking.
If what you're telling is true, and I doubt it is, she must be drawing a lot of energy from something to be able to do that.
Jimmy thinks for a beat and then looks over at the shadow figures. Hubert does the same. Then they look at each other. Neither knows exactly what's going on, but they have a good idea after a long beat.
You know, they can't do anything to you during the day. Lay down, get some winks. Oh, Hubert, keep an eye out for you.
Okay, thanks, Hubert.
Jimmy finds a clear patch on the grave and lays down. Hubert goes back to playing the harmonica.
Hey, Hubert.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, why didn't you go up to heaven?
Hubert takes a second to answer, which he does with a smirk.
Let's just say cigarettes weren't my only vice. Oh.
Jimmy lets out a small chuckle, then looks at the shadow figure still laying in wait and tries to get some sleep. Okay. So let me break down that scene just a little bit. First of all, Oscar to Kareem. Oscar worthy.
I've been working on Hubert all day, my friends.
I don't have a statue,
I
but
was
how about
visiting
some,
BAFTA for my award.
some hand sanitizer for you in place of an Oscar? That's all I've got. So what we're finding out here, and this was a big, huge, you guys didn't see it, but I made the exposition alarm for this one as well. But basically, so we know that there were all these boys from high school that got, yanked by Lavender. And what he's explaining is that there's like the essence and then there's the spirit. And the essence is kind of like what makes you who you are. And then the spirit is just kind of like a framework that the essence kind of goes into. And somehow they've taken the essence out of these spirits. And that's kind of what's powering Lavender and makes her able to be lifelike or be like alive or whatever. And so, yeah. So basically she's after Jimmy's essence. That doesn't sound sexual or anything. So that's where we are. That explains it all. And by the way, Hubert, very much based on my grandfather, who passed away when I was 5, and his name was, he went by HL, but his name was Hubert. So that was, and he smoked a lot. There you go. Okay. And Kareem, he talked nothing like that, but it's okay. Okay, so Jimmy laid down, we dissolve out. It's now the morning. He's still laying in the cemetery. Jimmy's still asleep on top of Hubert's grave, and then a hand reaches down and shakes him awake. And it's a priest. He goes, "Hey, wake up now." Jimmy looks up and sees a Catholic priest shaking him. He quickly glances up and sees that Hubert isn't there. "You all right, son?" Jimmy wipes his eyes.
Morning.
So he just got woken up in the graveyard. Inside the church, he's in a church hallway dialing the phone. Again, no cell phones. We hear the phone ringing on the other side, and it's in Bart's bedroom. He's asleep. The phone rings. He rolls over and answers it.
Hello.
Bart, it's Jimmy. I need your help.
Bart sits up, surprised.
Jimmy, where the hell have you been? I was looking all over for you last night.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've got something you got to see.
Jimmy's distracted by something, staring off at something. Jimmy is distracted by something, staring at something off to the side. Jimmy's looking at something off to the side.
I'll be there in 10 minutes.
He hangs up the phone, and we see that he's staring at a baptismal pool, foreshadowing. Interior diner day, a little bit later. Bart slides a picture of Lavender with Justin that he got from Justin's dad across the table of the diner between their cups of coffee. Jimmy puts his face in his hands. He's just shattered.
How many did you say there were?
8.
Jimmy nods. It all makes sense now, and he can't stand it.
I think that was their spirits chasing me last night. Yeah, she takes their essences to grow stronger and controls what's left of them. That's what I think. Yeah.
So does that mean she kills them?
Yeah, I think so.
He glances across the room and he sees a man sitting at the bar wearing a World War II style army outfit, and he looks angry.
Well, at least we figured it out in time.
No, we didn't. I think when she kissed me, it pulled me into this other plane, and now these guys are gonna come after me every night unless I can find a way to undo it.
Oh, he's screwed. A long, sad beat. Jimmy watches the guy at the bar. Another patron walks up and sits on a stool, passing right through the soldier guy, who we can now see as a ghost. The ghost guy steps back and swings at the new patron. His hand goes right through him, of course. He turns and he sees Jimmy looking in his direction, and then Jimmy looks away quickly.
So she was playing you all along.
All this is happening while they're having a conversation. Jimmy looks at Bart, upset. He wants to deny it, but Bart's right. He quivers with anger and confusion, tears forming in his eyes.
I'm sorry, Jimbo.
The World War II guy has walked toward Jimmy, staring at him, wondering if he can see him. He leans down, inches away from Jimmy's face, staring at him. Jimmy struggles to not look at him as tears continue to well up.
You may not believe me, but I am.
The ghost finally moves on.
I have to go back to her tonight.
Are you kidding?
I can't stay like this. Seeing ghosts, chased by shadows, sleeping in graveyards.
But she made you that way.
And maybe she can undo it. Unless you know somebody.
Bart, of course, has no idea. He sighs. So now they're making a plan to confront Lavender and see if there's some way that she can undo this. So, I guess we have a little bit of a montage going on here. So there was a riverfront day. Jimmy's car is parked beside a dirt road alongside a river. He pops the trunk and pulls out some extra clothes and changes clothes. And in a voiceover, you can hear them making their plan.
I'll lay low today and avoid my parents. The last thing I need is to have to explain all this to them.
At the grocery store, Bart's working at the register. Did y'all hear my dog barking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife just came home. Where are we? So Bart's working at the register. It's slow, and he stares off into space, kind of concerned. Jimmy continues.
Shoot. Oh, I looked away for a second.
Interior
Maybe
grocery
you
store
can do-
day. You just go do your work
You're
and
right.
your normal thing.
And it's the next day.
We see my parents just telling me I haven't seen.
Oh, you just go to work and you.
There you
I'll
go.
lay low to avoid my parents. Yeah, the last. No, wait. You just go to work and you do your normal thing. Sorry. If you see my parents, just tell me. Just tell them you haven't seen me.
So interior Jimmy's bedroom. Deborah stands at the door, staring at the bed, worried sick because she doesn't know where Jimmy is and she can't reach him because we don't know what decade this takes place in. Mel walks up behind her, phone in hand. He places his hand on her shoulder and he dials. They don't know who he's calling. Bart watches the shadows of people at the grocery store walk by. Bart watches the shadows of people walking by outside. I don't even know what that line means. So Jimmy's in his car waiting out the evening. He's sitting under a tree contemplating. He throws a rock into a river. Time lapse of the shadows of the trees changing direction. They get longer and longer. And then back at the grocery store, Bart pulls his bag out of his locker and pulls a folder out of it. In it is the newspaper clippings of Lavender's victims. He thinks about it and sighs. He's like, what am I about to do? Back at Jimmy's car, he drives out to his meeting with Lavender. As he gets to the Lafayette Road sign, he spots Bart standing underneath it. He pulls over and Bart walks to his window with his bike.
What are you doing?
So these weird shadow things. Are you saying they can't see me because I'm in another plane of existence?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Bart leans his bike against a street sign and gets in the car.
Well, then I'm coming too.
Bart, you don't.
No, I
You
can't
don't
just sit
have-
back and do nothing. Don't make a big deal about it. You just said yourself that I'm safe.
Jimmy just kind of smirks and looks at him.
Come on. Let's go get this bitch.
That's the line. That's going to be on the poster. No. Smiling, Jimmy puts the car in gear and they keep driving. The sun is turning orange and setting. We pan down to see Jimmy's car pull up outside the grocery store where Bart is waiting. Why is Bart at the grocery store? Anyway, so Lafayette Road later on. Jimmy's car pulls up on the side of the road and he shuts off the engine. They sit there in silence for a good beat.
So, what time does she come out?
She always told me not before 9, but I think that had to do with when her mother went to bed.
Bart looks at his watch.
It's 8.
It's also dark.
He opens his door and he gets out. Bart follows. Jimmy goes around and opens a trunk, pulling out a backpack and putting it on. He hands Bart a flashlight and they start walking toward the dirt road. Senses alert, they keep their eyes and ears open for anything. Out of the corner of his eye, Jimmy sees one of the shadow figures and quickly reaches into his backpack.
What?
I saw one of them.
The spirit ghost thing shadow thingies?
Yep.
Jimmy pulls out a water gun from the backpack and holds it at the ready. Bart looks at him strangely.
So I got some holy water from the priest. If we can't get to desecrated ground,
He squirts a stream across the ground in front of him.
we'll create it.
So he gets some of the holy water. He can just like spray it wherever he goes, and they can't reach him because it's now consecrated ground, right? Smart. Also stole that from the Frighteners. So Bart nods, and they continue around the corner down a dirt road. Jimmy sees his flower bouquet on the ground where she dropped it the night before. And then the shadow figures arrive. They seem to appear behind all the trees and slowly make their way to the two of them. Immediately, Jimmy starts spraying the ground around him. One figure comes close. Jimmy sprays him back. The figure, obviously afraid of the holy water. It's working. They crowd around the two of them but keep their distance, swiping inside from time to time, but they always retreat with a squirt from Jimmy. Bart can't see them all at all, and he's reacting to Jimmy.
I assume they're here?
Yep, they are all around us.
They continue down the path sworn by shadow figures like buzzards circling a carcass. After a little more walking, Bart looks up ahead, and he taps on Jimmy's arm, pointing. Jimmy looks. It's Lavender, standing by a tree. Jimmy can barely see her for all the shadows swarming around him, and then she starts walking his way.
You shouldn't have come back here. I told you to stay on consecrated ground.
I had to get some answers.
She approaches him slowly, talking with a barrier of swarming shadow figures between them.
When you kissed me, you crossed partially into the plane of the dead.
Yeah, I know that. I want to know if everything you said was bullshit, if this whole time I was just the next guy to come along, or all you wanted was to turn me into one of these things.
He's just hurt. She reaches the swarm of shadow figures and, as if parting the Red Sea, just wipes her hand across them and they scatter. She's got powers, people.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Bart whips out the picture of her and Justin.
Ring a bell? Hussy? Temptress?
This guy.
Purveyor of pulchritude?
This guy and 7 more like him.
She looks at the picture, shocked.
Was I just next in line?
No.
Whatever it is you did to me, you gotta fix it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So she's yelling, no, it's something else, because behind him, before Bart gets whacked in the head from behind with a shovel and he falls to the ground, Jimmy turns to see what happened and he gets whacked in the head himself and he falls down. From Jimmy's point of view, he looks up to see Lavender's mother, Miss Van Pyle, standing over him with a shovel, and she swings down with a whack. Bang! That's how shovels sound when you hit somebody in the forehead with it. I've done it a few times. It's very accurate.
Wow.
So we cut to black. Interior of the Van Pyle basement. Night. Jimmy slowly opens his eyes. A trickle of blood from the top of his head has dried across his face. He looks down to see that he's chained to a wall by his wrists and ankles. This gets a little S&M. This gets a little S&M. It's okay. Bart's right next to him, unconscious and slumped in his chains. Then he looks across the room. It's a dark and dank basement with candles everywhere you look, strange markings covering the walls, and dead chickens and other animals hanging from the hooks, and many old rusty jars on the walls. Finally, in a corner, he sees Mrs. Van Pyle stirring a pot over a portable stove. She pours various ingredients into the thick concoction, one of which is the bag of petals that she had bought at the flower shop earlier. She mumbles as she stirs in a strange language. She kind of speaks in tongues a little bit in this scene, which I wrote out, and it sounds insane. Whenever you try to write out speaking in tongues, it sounds nuts. Anyway, he pulls on the chains trying to get free, and then she hears a noise and turns around. Jimmy sees her looking at him.
What are you doing?
Quiet, boy.
Quiet, boy. She scoops the dark mass onto a small board. Jimmy tries to wake Bart, but to no avail. Miss Van Pyle walks toward them, picking up a butcher knife along the way. And when she gets in front of him, she sets the board down and turns to him with the knife brandished. She steps right in front of him, knife pointed at his stomach. He breathes heavy and fast, staring at her wide-eyed as she suddenly cuts, and he flinches. She pulls the knife up his T-shirt, ripping it in two, but not touching him. It's a little S&M. Jimmy relaxes, thankfully, because he thought she was about to stab him, as she walks over to the still unconscious Bart and does the same thing to him. So she's opening up, she's exposing his shirt. Yeah. She walks back and sets down the knife, picking up the board with the poultice on it. Suddenly, everything makes sense to Jimmy.
It was you this whole time, wasn't it?
Dun, dun,
All
dun.
these years, all those guys. You did this. You killed him to keep Lavender with you. You didn't want to let her go.
She
I would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for you fishy. Oh,
did I mention she ran in a haunted amusement park as well? So, Aaron, when you read this line, you don't have to write what I wrote. You can just make whatever noises you want. She scoops off a bit of the poultice and she smears it on his chest, and he reacts to how hot it is, and she rubs it into a circle on his chest, chanting a phrase as she does it.
Mama say, Mama saw, Mama saw.
That's so much better than what I wrote. You could also probably get away with a mecha leka hi mecha hiney ho. That might be usable as well. So she's doing this whole thing and she's chanting this ritual. She continues chanting as Jimmy as she finishes him off, and does the same to Bart. The heat from the poultice wakes him up.
You couldn't set her free. You had to keep her here, trapped with you. You didn't have any control of your life. You had to control hers. They were right about you. You are a witch.
You are a witch. This comment gets her attention, and she puts the board down, grabbing a knife and turning back towards him. She points the knife at his chest until the point of the knife pokes him at the top of the circle she had smeared on there, and he flinches. As she talks, she draws... I like this visual. I think this is going to actually be kind of cool if it was ever done. She draws into the poultice a strange voodoo symbol with the tip of the knife. And as she does, blood runs from the place where she first poked him, and it fills in the lines in the design.
When a mother carries a daughter, the two are one. And as it is in the beginning, so it shall remain. Lavender never ceased being a part of me, and it will stay that way even after I'm dead.
She carves the same design into Bart, who's awake but not fully conscious.
Everybody thinks I want to be alone. The opposite is true. I've made it so I'll never be alone again.
And then Jimmy realizes something.
You did it. You ran her over. She was 17. That was her senior prom. She was about to leave you.
Dun, dun, dun. Mrs. Van Pyle turns toward Jimmy angrily, but her emotion is interrupted by a voice.
It was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Kind of killed the vibe, Maddie. Gosh, I worked up to this point.
I just saw somebody who was like, Lavender's a trollop, and I just
That's why you can't read the chat.
No, I just happened to look over and see it, and it just had me. I was cracking up a little bit. I'm sorry. It was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Jimmy and Miss Van Pyle look back and see Lavender standing at the bottom of the stairs. Her mother smiles and looks back to Jimmy.
Oh, Lavender, I believe this one has not been brought over yet. Would you mind?
Hesitantly, Lavender walks over to Bart, uncomfortably looking at Jimmy. She grabs the barely conscious Bart and kisses him. Jimmy can hardly watch. Her mother stares at Jimmy, enjoying his anguish. Yes, come to the dark side. In deflecting his eyes, Jimmy notices that Lavender slips something into Bark's pocket. I call him Bark for a second there. Bart fully wakes in mid-lib lock, and he panics and pulls away, but the deed has been done.
Good girl. Now join me upstairs, and we'll get you ready.
Miss Van Pyle walks upstairs, leaving Lavender alone with them. Jimmy and Lavender share a tense moment. Bart looks around the room confused.
I'm sorry.
She starts out of the room. Then Bart says,
"You bitch."
That's just such a Bart thing to say. She turns and looks at Bart and then flips a mechanical switch on the wall as she walks up the stairs out of sight. After she flips the switch, the chains around their hands and feet come loose from the wall. Who set up this room? They pull their hands down and look at each other, a little shocked.
She kissed me.
I know.
Does that mean the shadow guys can see me now?
Yeah, it does.
She's not a bad kisser, really.
Jimmy stares her down. Him down.
What's in your pocket?
What do you mean?
She slipped something in your pocket. What is it?
Bart reaches in and pulls out a folded up piece of paper. Jimmy walks over to him, cringing at the sound of the chains and trying to be quiet. He glances at the stairs to make sure nobody's looking as they unfold the letter almost all the way and start reading. So we hear Lavender's voice as they're reading it.
My mother has performed a secret voodoo ritual. Even if you escape, she controls the shadow spirits. So there are only 2 ways to get you out of the plane of the dead.
Okay, so we cut into the kitchen while she's still reading it. She's sitting in a chair. Her dress is kind of unbuttoned down, and her mother's smearing that poultice on her chest. This is all part of the whole ritual. She looks kind of dazed.
1 is to remove the bodies from the backyard and get them to consecrated ground. This will return their essence to them. This would take days, and I don't know what it would do to me.
She looks out the window into the backyard where a shovel is stuck into a slightly raised burial mound. So they've been killing these guys and burying them in the backyard. Kind of a good thing to know. Back in the basement, Bart and Jimmy they continue reading the paper.
The other is to find someone who is skilled in voodoo that can take you out of the spirit plane. Find a woman named Claire Dubois in Palmetto, Louisiana. She's from the family that taught my mother. She can help you. I left the water gun behind a chair at the top of the stairs. Get to a cemetery tonight and drive to Palmetto as fast as you can. And get there tomorrow. Good luck. And I'm sorry.
Jimmy unfolds the last flap of paper and a key slides out. He looks at Bart. Back on Lafayette Road, a police car is pulled up behind Jimmy's car on the side of the road, and a policeman walks over talking on his radio.
That's me, I know.
That's you.
All right. I'm trying to figure out the right voice here. Hold on.
He's got to sell it, people.
I have a location on the 72 Charger, Louisiana license plates, November 5-7 Juliet Sierra Alpha. Reported missing this morning.
Chatter comes back over the radio as he looks inside the car.
No sign of the boy reported missing with it.
So his mom called the police on him finally, and the cop found his car on the side of the road. So that's going on. So he looks inside, and in the driver's seat is a folded piece of paper. It's the one Jimmy was writing earlier in the day. The door is unlocked, so he opens the door and he looks at the letter. His brows furrow, curious. So Jimmy kind of wrote a letter and left it in the car just in case somebody were to ever... You got it, okay. Inside the Van Pyle stairwell, Jimmy and Bart are sneaking their way up the stairwell, being as quiet as possible. Jimmy reaches the top and carefully peeks around the corner. The kitchen's one room over, and Lavender can see him from where she is. There's a door to the outside just to his left. He looks behind the chair and quietly grabs a water gun that had been set back there. On Lavender, she sees this and begins acting like she's in pain to try to distract her mother.
Mom, this hurts.
What hurts?
This stuff hurts. It's burning my skin. Why is it burning?
What are you talking about? It shouldn't be burning.
Lavender surreptitiously kind of glances over at the door, and at the door, Bart gently closes it behind him, pulling it just to so it won't make any noise. Jimmy, outside the house, Jimmy's been spraying the area around him as they begin running back to the car. Back in the kitchen, Lavender sees that they're gone, and she stops the act.
Oh, wait, actually, it's getting better.
Did it stop?
Yeah, yes, yeah. It's okay now.
And then back at the front door, the latch slowly gives and the door clicks shut. And Mrs. Van Pyle turns around at the sound, wide-eyed. She knows what's going on and she scowls. So outside the Van Pyle house, suddenly the fat shadow figures kind of descend out of nowhere and everywhere. They're awoken. They come out. They start swarming around Bart and Jimmy because she's controlling them, Miss Van Pyle is. Bart, frozen in terror, this is the first time he's ever seen them. He wanders off the path of the consecrated ground that they've been spraying. A shadow immediately swipes at him and scratches him deeply across his back. He goes to his knees in pain, and when another one knocks him down, the others descend on top of him. Jimmy turns back around when he sees this.
Bart, no!
No! He rushes toward him and then forgets to spray the ground in front of him, and the shadows sweep by and knocks the water gun out of his hands, and the others attack him, picking him up, flinging him away from the water gun, where he hits the ground with a thud, knocking the wind out of him. So there's getting attacked by these shadowy figure things. He struggles for air because he got the wind knocked out, and as they beat and scratch at him, causing red marks all over his body, they're getting messed up. At the door, Miss Van Pyle walks outside with a shotgun. Lavender follows behind her.
Thought you could run, did you?
No! Stop it! Stop it!
No! She tries to wave off the shadow figures from Bart because she's normally has that power, but this time they knock her back.
Not this time, dear.
Mother, make them stop.
It will be over soon enough.
Lavender looks over at Jimmy, still being pummeled by the figures in pain and bleeding, and then she looks at the water gun. Mrs. Van Pyle makes her way toward Jimmy as the figures restrain Bart and carry him next to Jimmy. Both of them are being held down to the ground by the shadow figures. Mrs. Van Pyle stands over them with her shotgun.
Now we're ready. Come, Lavender, it's time for the transfer.
She points the gun at Jimmy.
Lavender!
She looks back where Lavender has been standing, but she's not there. She looks around for her and finally spots her. Lavender standing on the burial mound with the water gun in hand, one hand, and in the other hand is the water canister for the gun with the holy water in it. She's holding it over the mound.
What do you think you're doing?
This has to end, Mother.
Don't you dare.
I'm sorry.
She's got the water. We got props. Jimmy and Bart kind of crane their necks. They're trying to see what's happening. And then she reaches back and slings the water out of the canister in slow motion. It sprays across the burial site, consecrating it. No! And then, boom, as if blown by a hurricane, the shadow figures slide across the yard toward the mound. They scratch and claw at the ground, fighting against the wind. Jimmy rolls over and watches as the shadow figures disappear one by one, sucked into the burial mound. Lavender, breathing heavily, she takes a step back, looking at the ground. She doesn't know what this is going to do to her, and something doesn't feel right. Suddenly, 8 shots of light burst out of her chest into the ground. Pew, 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 like 8 quick lightning bolts. Sound effects. Her body tenses and seizes with each burst. Bam, bam. And then the last one knocks her up in the air, and she falls onto her back, lifeless.
Lavender!
Nailed it. He scurries to his knees, but he's stopped in his tracks by a gun cocking, the barrel of the gun right behind his ear. Mrs. Van Pyle stands over him, the gun at his head.
I can still get her back.
Her finger starts to pull the trigger when...
Grace, don't you move.
Jimmy and Miss Van Pyle look to see a team of police officers descending on her, guns drawn. They quickly disarm and immobilize her. Jimmy quickly runs over to Lavender. When he gets there, she's conscious but completely exhausted, barely able to move.
Lavender, are you okay?
He tries to put his hand on her forehead, but it passes right through her. She's just a regular ghost now.
Oh no.
He wants nothing more in this world than to be able to hold her, but he can't do it, and it's devastating to him. His hands pass along her body, but just he can't feel her. It's getting nothing.
I couldn't let her do it. I couldn't let her kill you.
I know.
She sits up slowly, trying to grab him, and she tears up. This is all so dramatic.
I'm so sorry, Jimmy. I am so sorry.
Miss Van Pyle is carted off in handcuffs as rescue personnel rush in and see to Bart.
I was supposed to do it that first night, but I couldn't. And I tried to avoid you, but I wanted to be with you.
So suddenly, they're in the middle of talking, and it's all back and forth, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry about this. And then suddenly a bright light appears behind them in the distance, and they both squint when they look into it. It's an ethereal, otherworldly light. They stand up in awe of it, and then they look at each other.
I think someone's calling to you.
She looks behind him.
Likewise.
Jimmy looks back and sees paramedics rushing over to him. So neither knows what to say. They have almost no time. She's being pulled one direction. He's being pulled another direction. These are their very last moments together. He starts to say something, but he stops. And then finally she speaks up.
I want you to go make some living girl as happy as you've made me.
Oh. He kind of smirks. He reaches out to her, and she puts her hand on top of his because they can't touch each other.
Thank you.
I think that's supposed to be a thank you for everything and not just a thanks for letting me go date a living girl now. But anyway, he says thank you.
Can't do it.
I would probably rewrite some of this dialogue here, but
Thank you.
thanks.
you.
Okay, see ya.
Ah.
The rescue personnel reach him, and not able to see her, they think he's delusional. I don't think anybody.
Come with me, son. What's your name?
They start pulling him away, and he's looking back at her as they lead him. She watches him and begins walking toward the light.
I asked you, what's your name, son?
He's delusional. He's in shock. Let's get a shark cart ready. So she's walking one direction. He's walking the other. She mouths, I love you to him. He mouths it back. Tears. He goes with the rescue crew, and she walks toward the light, each looking back and forth at each other as they go, being forced to go separate ways, but still trying to get in one last glimpse. When she finally can't see him anymore, Lavender turns toward the light and sighs with anticipation before she walks forward. At the ambulance, the rescue crew has shepherded Jimmy to the ambulance at the intersection of the dirt road. Medical crews are swarming around him. He looks behind the house where he can still see the light in the distant trees, and then suddenly the light goes out and Lavender is gone. Jimmy looks back to the ambulance and he sees Bart sitting up on a gurney. Bart looks down towards him. Jimmy nods his head. Yeah, she's gone. Bart gets the message and sighs, sitting back and takes a swig of water. On the road, as the ambulance doors close and the truck drives away down the road, the sound of a news anchor can be heard.
Last night, a stunning arrest in Picayune, Louisiana, where an 80-year-old woman was arrested and charged with multiple counts of murder. 8 bodies were found buried behind the home of Delia Van Pyle. Is it Delia?
Delia, yeah.
Delia, okay, all right. Delia Van Pyle. Police believe that they may be connected to the disappearances of 8 teenage boys since 1964. Mrs. Van Pyle, known as a recluse to those around her, allegedly killed the boys because she believed it would bring back her daughter, who died over 40 years ago.
Fade to black. And then the car trunk opens. Oh, we cut back in. We're at a car trunk. It opens. Jimmy stacks a few bags in the trunk, and he closes it. We're outside Jimmy's house. His parents and some other people are gathered to see him off for college. So this is a couple months later. He hugs everybody, and they wish him good luck before hopping in the car and driving off, honking the horn as he leaves. Jimmy walks out of the store with a small paper bag, taking a sip of soda. Oh, sorry. We cut to a grocery store. We're at a grocery store now. He walks out of the store with a small paper bag. He's taking a sip of soda. He waits there for a beat before he sees Bart walking back into the store with a cart. Bart sees him, and they meet off to the side smirking.
Hey, looks like someone's getting the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah. It's about that time.
They shake hands. There's an odd pause.
So have you seen any more?
No, actually, not since we got back from that voodoo lady.
Yeah, me neither. I guess it worked.
Jimmy nods. Another weird pause.
Anyway, you nervous?
Maybe a little anxious.
Well, good luck in Georgia, man.
Jimmy nods and composes himself to say something. He wants to say something serious.
You know, I don't think I ever sufficiently told you how much I appreciate.
Oh, come on! Don't get sappy with me now.
No, I just want to say,
you and your little Oprah moments, man. I swear.
No, even when I was acting totally nuts, you stood by me, and that's just, well. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah,
Sincerity.
I felt sorry for you. What can I say?
Well, yeah. Anyway, stay in touch, all right?
Yeah, who knows? In a year, I might be able to join you out there.
I'll save a dorm room for you.
It's probably not something he can really do, but they give each other a quick guy hug, and then Jimmy walks towards his car.
I'll see ya.
Bart stops him.
Oh, hey, Jimmy?
Jimmy turns around.
If you see any hitchhikers out there, just keep going. Just keep trucking. Keep going. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Got it.
Jimmy walks off, and Bart goes back to the store. Now we cut to the cemetery where Jimmy's car pulls up outside by the church where he'd spent the night. He gets out of the car and he walks in looking for a tombstone, and he finds it. It's Hubert's tombstone. He reaches into the paper bag he had outside the store and he pulls out a small number of flowers and a pack of cigarettes. He places them on the gravestone.
Keep playing that music, friend.
He smiles and then walks back to his car and drives away. Fade to black. The end.
Hubert, thanks you, buddy.
Hand
Hubert
comes
got his
out of the
smoke.
ground.
There'll be an end credit scene of just Hubert just like, oh, finally. So it's really a story about how a ghost got some cigarettes. So one of the few, or well, one of the comments that I have gotten back when I've showed this screenplay to people is that they don't understand why he didn't go to Lavender's grave at the end instead of, like, he goes to Hubert's but not Lavender's. And my response is, well, he knows that she's not there. He saw her go off into the light, so he wanted to do this nice thing for this guy that helped him out that night, so he brings him some cigarettes. But anyway, we made it through.
We did it.
Yeah. You guys have any thoughts?
That was so fun. Thank you.
That was fun.
That was really fun.
I should have
Thank
brought
you
more
for
in it.
asking me to do this.
I'm still too in it.
Well, we're getting lots of thumbs up on the live chat.
S&M voodoo witch on my resume.
Yes. Wait, you're just now adding that? I thought that's why we were friends.
It's the part I was born to play, baby.
Yeah, I love the mom character. She's just so like. I did a TMI video on my second channel that was kind of like talking about leading up to this and everything, and I did say that I took a lot of influence from The Frighteners. Have you guys seen The Frighteners? Old Peter Jackson movie. It's got Michael J. Fox in it.
Yeah.
There is a scene where he's got a water gun with holy water in it, and he's spraying it around a kitchen and stuff. But it's he plays sort of a scam artist where he can see ghosts, and he has these ghosts that work for him, and they go and like they're the frighteners, so they go and they like scare people in their houses, and then they hire him as a psychic investigator to come and clear out these ghosts. So it's all a big scam, but then some real stuff starts to happen, and he gets all wrapped up in it and whatnot. But I don't know. There were some elements of that I took from it. I didn't really play it up much in the script, but I also like the setting of it, like Southern Louisiana, and I wanted to kind of play off of that sort of like Haitian voodoo stuff that you hear about in that part of the world, you know. So it would definitely play that up in the music and whatnot. So anyway. There's some stuff in it that I would definitely want to change if I were to like really pursue this, but there's some things about it that I kind of like too. Oh, one thing that does bother me, I'm just crapping all over my own script now. I don't feel like Jimmy really has an arc. Like he doesn't. It's the police that kind of come and save him at the end, and Lavender saves him at the end, but he doesn't like face his fear and overcome it in some way and grow as a person necessarily. He just kind of survives, you know. and maybe in a horror kind of story that's all you need, but that's always kind of bothered me a little bit. I kind of feel like he needs to like overcome some personal thing, and he doesn't really quite.
Oliver Twist didn't have an arc, and look what a classic that is.
Yeah.
Dickens, I mean, you know. I mean, I guess that's true. That I don't know. Maybe I'm just so like locked into like this is how a movie story is supposed to work. You know, you have to have the main character hit this plot point and whatnot. Anyway, but anyway,
if she was able to go to the prom, why couldn't she like go, like have a ice cream date or something?
Because movie. No, no, you're right. That is definitely one of those like because movie things where yeah, she's able to go to the prom, but then like the rest of the movie she's like, I have to be right here.
Right.
Because that fits the narrative. I guess you could make the argument that like she only has a certain amount of like this spiritual energy that she can do that, but it like drains this spiritual energy and she can't do it again until she takes a soul or something. So
Or prom night is her Halloween night, but once a year she can do this.
Right.
And
maybe she does it every year, but it's only every once in a while that somebody actually stops and picks her up, and that's when she's able to
Kill them.
Kill them. Take their soul.
Essence.
As steal the essence. I never thought about how dirty essence sounded until we were reading it out loud in front of what, like 1,000 people. How many people are watching right now?
Dr. Strangelove. The guy loses it.
What was that?
To steal my essence.
What's that from?
Dr. Strangelove. I can't remember. What does he say? Precious bodily fluids. That's what he says.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he runs an army base and starts killing people.
The I don't know why. The line from that movie that always stands out to me is like, "There's no fighting in the war room, guys." I need to watch that again.
Actually. Russians in here, they'll see the big board.
Yeah, they'll see the big board. Oh, Peter Sellers. Yeah. Well, anyway, this has gone on a while, and I don't want to keep you guys any longer than you have to be. But I really do appreciate you guys doing this. I really wanted to do this, and you guys killed it. It was fun.
This is fun. Yeah, this is great.
I'll be able to rewatch this, right? I should be able to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you want to?
Yeah, let's all go look.
Yeah, no, it'll stay up.
I just want to keep on staring into Nick's eyes. It got me all.
Yeah, Nick normally wears glasses. His eyes aren't normally so
piercing,
captivating.
Yeah, I can't.
There he is. All right. Where is he now? Where's Nick?
Now we can relax.
No, I can't see anything.
Who's that
I
dork?
probably should have worn mine.
You wear glasses?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I know it. I do too, but I'm wearing contacts usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have that weird thing about touching my eyeballs, so I just wear my glasses. Or I don't wear them. Or I just don't.
And you walk into trees and...
It's not that bad. I definitely should not be driving without them, which I do a lot. Whoops. Maybe we should tell everybody that.
Confession.
I'll tell you what, you guys hang on for just a second. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Everybody who watched this, thank you so much. I did see some super chats come in that will be shared with all these guys. And I've got, and by the way, thanks to Dakota and Moss and Skylar for moderating in the comments, and they're writing down all the super chats so that I can get back to everybody. I might address all of you guys in a TMI episode or something. But no, this was a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys indulged me, and if you liked it enough, I will threaten you with maybe doing this again sometime. You never know.
I'd love to.
You have a Christmas
that'd be
script?
great.
Do I have a Christmas script?
Uh-huh.
Do I have a Christmas? I've got like 20 of them. I mean, I could do a lot of these.
Ooh, we should
Prolific.
do it.
Do I have a Christmas? I don't think I have a Christmas one.
Oh.
So I have 2 months to write one. No, I'm not gonna.
You can just modify an existing one.
You have a festival.
Pull a Die Hard and just throw
Right,
Christmas
yeah.
in there.
I'll just take any script and just set it at Christmas.
Time.
And I'll just put one line in there, one exposition alarm line where it's like, "Don't you love Christmas? You slept with my wife," and it just goes from there. It just moves on. So, yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of end this live stream. Again, thank you to everybody who watched, and anybody who donated. It is very much appreciated, and I will pay my respect. That sounds like you died. I will get back to you on that anyway. I never know how. This is how I end live streams. I'm just like, I never know how to end them. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you around in the places.
Bye, Nick, Madison, Emmett.
Yes.
Bye, guys.
Thanks,
Bye, everyone.
everybody.
All right, it was fun.
Bye, Nick.
Good night,